Chapter 11. The Fight. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 11. The Fight. Translator. Endless Fantasy Translation Editor. Endless Fantasy Translation. Even though the gathering appeared to be a high-end event, in truth it was not considered to be an upper-class party. It was but a party for the upstarts in the district to bring along some B-list celebrities and spoilt youngsters with wealthy parents. However, there was no lack of conversation topic on beautiful women regardless of different circles. Zhang Yunxi's appearance had naturally turned into the focal point of the entire scene's attention. Who is that beautiful girl? Why have I not seen her before? She looks to be very young and delicate. I think she's still a student. That poor B***st**RD by her side can't be her boyfriend, right? F***ck. It's like sticking a fresh flower on a dunghill. I saw that they were brought over by Calm Wei. I'll look for a chance to seek her asking price if I can. The group of people had utterly disregarded Yi Lingqian's presence. They were discussing Zhang Yunxi almost as if she was an object. They talked as if no one would stand a chance to fight for the women in their territory. Meanwhile, someone spoke. Stop thinking about the girl. She is reserved for GM Wang by Calm Wei. GM Wang. That lad is changing women faster than he is changing his attire. Oh no, another fine piece of vegetable has been ruined, exclaimed someone emotionally. F***ck. You're speaking as if you're not just like that too. Someone said in a schadenfreude-like manner, I wonder what would happen to the young lad. That's right. I heard that GM Wang once took a fancy upon a girl, so he broke her boyfriend's legs. He tossed the boyfriend some money as if nothing had happened. I thought GM Wang had just taken his little secretary upstairs to the building. I reckon they are about to come down soon. GM Wang had a domineering temper, so he would never allow any woman that he fancied to leave him. Perhaps GM Wang would cripple the young lad on the spot when he noticed Yi Lingqian's presence. Look, GM Wang is here, said someone. They watched as a middle-aged man with a huge belly and greasy face walked down from the second floor in a slow and steady manner. His arm was wrapped around an enchanting-looking woman and both of them were chatting away happily. Calm Wei's eyes lit up abruptly as soon as she saw GM Wang. Soon afterward, she walked over in long strides. GM Wang expressed his displeasure and impatience when he first saw her. However, his gaze immediately remained fixated upon Zhang Yunxi as soon as he first saw her. He wished that he could nail himself onto Zhang Yunxi's body. GM Wang, I've brought my sister over. Don't break your promise to me, okay, said Calm Wei in a coquettish manner. Ha, sure. GM Wang was almost salivating. It had been more than just a few days since he discovered Zhang Yunxi's presence. It was only that Zhang Yunxi was nicely dressed by Calm Wei this time. He walked toward Zhang Yunxi with long strides. Yunxi, this is GM Wang. Be courteous, introduced by Calm Wei. Miss Zhang, my name is Wang Wenlong. It's a pleasure to meet you. GM Wang stretched out his greasy hand toward Zhang Yunxi. Zhang Yunxi frowned deeply. She could not help stepping backward involuntarily. Meanwhile, Yi Lingqian stepped forward and grabbed GM Wang's hand at one go. My name is Yi Lingqian. It's a pleasure to meet you. Scoundrel. Did I say that I wanted to shake hands with you? Scram. GM Wang's expression dimmed abruptly. He glared at Yi Lingqian coldly. Lingqian, GM Wang has an important proposal to discuss with Yunxin in private. Go away, don't ruin this, said Calm Wei as she attempted to pull Yi Lingqian away. At present, GM Wang extended his greasy hands toward Zhang Yunxi once again. This made Zhang Yunxi's beautiful face turn pale with fear and her charming body shivered. Yi Lingqian shuffled his legs and used his body to place himself between the two people. Who are you to order me to leave, and why should I leave? Who are you again? GM Wang did not expect that someone would have the audacity to revolt against him repeatedly. He squinted his eyes to size Yi Lingchen up and down. Soon afterward, he smiled in disdain. I don't give a*ck who you are. If you have the audacity to stop me, then be prepared to die. I'm going to give you one more chance. Scram. However, Yi Lingchen remained standing unbudging. The chubby cheeks on GM Wang appeared incomparably ferocious. Young lad, are you sure that you want to oppose me? What if I want to? Yi Lingchen looked on with a cold gaze. Poor *SS Jiaoxi, do you know who I am? GM Wang acted as if he had just listened to the funniest joke in the world. I've beaten up no less than 100 men that are like you. The rest of their lives were all ruined, for every single one of them had one leg broken at the very least. He looked at Yi Lingchen in contemplation. Now, would you still wish to oppose me? So what if I do that? Yi Lingchen remained calm as before with an unswerving determination. Zhang Yinshi was already shivering in fear. She could only hide behind Yi Lingchen to feel secure. The people in the surrounding area had been paying attention to the development of the situation all this time. This had created a great sensation over the entire scene instantly, as they found that the situation had surpassed their imagination. That's fearless. The young lad has truly no fear of death. F*ck. Is the young lad seeking doom? He is obviously prepared to engage in a fight against GM Wang. What a rowdy brat, he is a rowdy brat. Oh no, oh no. Look at GM Wang's expression. He is seeking the thrill of the kill. Every person in the room subconsciously surrounded these two people. It was their first time seeing someone who had such boldness when speaking to GM Wang. It's true that the stupid are fearless. Young lad, you and I are utterly not on the same level. I can make you leave just by saying a word. You will be damned to perdition from this point on. I'll make you live out the rest of your life in regret. GM Wang sneered repeatedly and said softly, break his arms and legs, then toss him out. Two burly bodyguards walked out slowly from behind his back. They were staring at Yi Lingchen in an unfriendly manner. Zhang Yinshi's hand was holding on to Yi Lingchen's clothes involuntarily. Her nails had begun to turn white due to her strenuous grip, because she had never witnessed a scene like this before. Yi Lingchen patted Zhang Yinshi's hands and looked toward the burly men walking toward himself with a calm gaze. He was similarly felt nervous. However, he was a man gifted with the system. He could lose anything but not his classiness. Come. He bent his waist and poised himself to make a move with Arhat fist. F*ck me. What is that? Could it be that the young lad is trained in martial arts? I was thinking, how can he be so calm? So it turns out that he is trained in some fancy acrobatics, huh? Don't tell me he thinks he's a martial art master. Sigh. The fancy acrobatics will be the death of him. What a little fool. GM Wang's two bodyguards are Southeast Asians. I heard that they were involved in underground fights in the past and had killed quite a number of people. Judging by the young lad's physique, I think that his ribs would be broken in one punch. The two bodyguards were grinning hideously upon seeing Yi Lingchen's current state. Ha, what a stupid mother***. Don't tell me that you let all the novels you've read get into your mind. GM Wang was amused. At present, Yi Lingchen looked just like a clown in his eyes. Die, young lad. One of the bodyguards raised his hands. The muscles on his entire body began to bulge and stiffen in such a way that he looked just like a boulder. It made every person's heart beat frantically in fear. He was powerful and terrifying. In the next moment, he began swinging and punching with his huge fists toward Yi Lingchen. Whoosh whoosh whoosh. The air was howling loudly from the movements of the fists. The people were daunted by the sight of his powerful strength. Bvec however, Yi Lingchen remained in the same posture as before without budging at all. The young lad must be stunned from fear. The young lad will be left with half a life with one punch. Sigh. I can only say that he is unfortunate. Of all the people he can offend, he chooses to offend GM Wang. Die. The bodyguard's expression dimmed for a moment. He was coming on even stronger. However, Yi Lingchen made a move at this very moment. His body sank ever so slightly as he stretched out his arms to wrap around the bodyguard's arms. Soon afterward, his body made a turn while he curved in his back. It was a style known as Backland Arhat. Whoosh! The bodyguard's burly body was immediately tossed into the distance like a feather-light mimosa that was blown out the window. He moved in a graceful arc across the sky. How was that possible? Every person's mouth gaped in astonishment and their eyes were widened so much their eyeballs were almost popping out from their eye sockets. He has been tossed out like a ragdoll. It was truly an astonishing sight such that everyone in the surroundings was dumbstruck in amazement. They were at a loss for words. The bodyguard had a burly physique with bulky muscles all over his entire body. He was at least 100 kilograms in weight. It was very difficult for an ordinary person to nudge him even if he was standing still. Could it be that the young lad was truly trained in martial arts? Then, the bodyguard crashed down from the sky. His upper body landed on the ground first. His eyes rolled back at once and he instantaneously lost his ability to fight. It was possible that his lower body could be paralyzed from crashing so hard on the ground. Brat, I'm going to kill you. GM Wang's chubby cheeks quivered while his eyes were shimmering with the most cunning radiance. Go ahead and cripple him. The other bodyguard was no longer haughty with the boy. He stamped his foot ever so slightly against the group and leaped up into the air. He kicked his legs swiftly like a vortex and delivered a flying kick toward Yi Lingchen. Countless shadows appeared in the sky. It appeared as if every kick of this bodyguard could instantly cripple a grown man. It was a move known as the cyclone sweeping kick. Wow, that's impressive. The people swallowed their saliva before they retreated in succession. They feared being affected by the fight. Yi Lingchen inhaled a deep breath. He had not retreated, on the contrary, he moved forward. He assumed the horse stance while he swung his fists simultaneously. It was a move known as moon-hugging Arhat. Bang! The bodyguard's body continued to spin. However, he was flying backward at such a speed that his head crashed onto the wall. His body convulsed for a moment before he was knocked unconscious from the impact. F***ck. That's awesome. The bystanders were stunned from astonishment. They stood gazing at one another with an incredulous expression on their faces. How did this happen? The young lad could not have been a martial art master, right? Oh, you brat. You're dead to me. GM Wang's eyes reddened from rage. He never took his eyes off Yi Lingchen. So you think that you're awesome just because you're trained in some fake martial arts, huh? Let me tell you this. There are many ways that will kill you in this world. Just wait. Also, I'm taking the woman behind you for sure. Blah.ha.ha. Ha. Zhang Yinshi was ghastly pale and beyond helpless. There was despair in her eyes. The rest of the people shook their heads one after another as they looked at Yi Lingchen sympathetically. So what if he was trained in martial arts? So what if he was skilled in fights? A single man's strength was still meager anyhow. However, Yi Lingchen pacified Zhang Yinshi calmly. There's no need to fear a man that is about to die. Zhang Yinshi looked into Yi Lingchen's eyes. She nodded subconsciously and felt slightly relieved in her heart. A man that is about to die. Ha, brat. Could it be that you still wish to kill me? Do you have the guts to do so even? GM Wang said while he mockingly looked at Yi Lingchen. Have you been feeling an itch all over your body recently? You have some red rashes on certain parts of your body, especially on your neck. Yi Lingchen looked at GM Wang quietly. There was a whiff of panic that flashed past GM Wang's face. So what if I do? Massage your lower abdomen area. Do you feel exceptionally painful on the two sides of your lower abdomen? Continued Yi Lingchen. GM Wang attempted to do that. His entire body was convulsing wildly as soon as he touched himself. His face was twitching in pain and he was sweating cold sweat. The women around you aren't clean. You should seek medical attention from a hospital as soon as possible. Perhaps you'll be able to live for another 1 to 2 months more. Yi Lingchen looked at GM Wang coldly before he spoke calmly. Chapter 12. Xiao Feifei. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 12. Xiao Feifei Translator. Endless Fantasy Translation Editor. Endless Fantasy Translation. What? The people felt a chill run down their spines. They could not help figuring out an incomparably terrifying possibility. They retreated in succession to keep their distance from the GM Wang. What? What do you mean? GM Wang abruptly turned ghastly pale as well. Haven't you figured that out yet? Yi Lingchen spoke indifferently. Have you been feeling chills recently? Moreover, you fall sick easily and your immunity is exceedingly low. No, that's impossible. Cold sweat was wildly perfusing out from GM Wang's fleshy face. Soon afterward, he abruptly turned around and raised his hand to give a slap on the seductive woman's face with a loud clap. Tell me. Is he telling the truth? Ha. Blah. Who would have expected that the woman would laugh aloud hysterically? Wang Wenlong, this is Judgment Day for you. I've had so many plastic surgeries to look like this just so I can get revenge against swine like you. Whoa. The twist of events stunned every single person on the scene. After you abandoned me all those years ago, I got myself infected intentionally. Then, I had plastic surgeries to give myself a new look so I could seduce you. Blah. You're just like how you were back in those years. You're hooked on me with just from a wiggle of my finger. The seductive woman laughed hysterically and said grudgingly, this is your end for abandoning me back in the beginning. B*TCH. GM Wang's face had already turned dark red similar to the color of pig liver. Yet, he dared not procrastinate anymore and he ran out swiftly. The disease is incurable. You won't be living much longer. Blah. The seductive woman was in hysteria. B*TCH, your AM*TH*RF*CK*ing B*TCH. GM Wang's voice was shivering. He cussed aloud as he was leaving. Every person in the gathering was dumbstruck. The people that shook GM Wang's hand earlier were cold from fear. They ran into the washroom to wash their hands wildly for hopes of disinfecting themselves. Yi Lingchen, you're awesome. You're even trained in medical skills. Zhang Yinshi looked at Yi Lingchen in astonishment. Too many things had happened today such that she felt like she was in a dream, especially this boy that came from the same village as herself. She felt like she could not see through this person anymore as if he was a mystery. Lingchen, please take a look at me. Meanwhile, Kong Wei was almost crying as she stood by the side anxiously. She begged him. Please take a look at me if I am sick, also if I can be cured. Ever since the woman appeared, you haven't been engaged in acts of intimacy with GM Wang anymore, right? Said Yi Lingchen smilingly. No. Kong Wei shook her head. You're not in trouble but you should pay attention to your health from now on, said Yi Lingchen. Kong Wei exhaled a long sigh of relief at once. Soon afterward, she said, Lingchen, you're a truly capable man. Has it not been for your help, I would be in deep trouble. Yi Lingchen smiled but did not speak. Zhang Yinshi looked at her cousin with a slightly disgusted look in her gaze. She was always under the assumption that her cousin had a good life despite being just a small celebrity. However, she had never expected that her cousin achieved that by using such filthy ways. Moreover, her cousin had almost thrown her to the wolves as well. She had never expected that there would be such a dark side to the society. She had not imagined that her cousin would betray her even more. Had it not been her request for Yi Lingchen to accompany her to this event, the ending was truly unimaginable. He, Yunshi. It's your sister's mistake this time. It's not intentionally really. Calm Wei smiled awkwardly. It's getting late anyway. Let me send the both of you home. They refused to stay any longer in that place, so the three of them walked toward the door. A young woman was gazing after Yi Lingchen's departing silhouette from a room inside the hall. She suddenly spoke, "Sister Lin, please help me to go over and ask for his phone number." Her voice sounded exceedingly sweet to the ears. It sounded so pleasing, as if one was basking in the spring breeze just by listening to her voice. "Miss, this." Sister Lin was slightly hesitant. "I have a favor to ask from him, please help me." The young woman's voice was heard once again with a coquettish tinge. "All right then." At that moment, the sky had already darkened. There was a coldness in the night breeze. Yi Lingchen was about to get into the car when he heard someone calling out to him. He could hear the words, "handsome boy," echoing indistinctly from behind his back, so he stopped walking. He could see a woman dressed in uniform walking toward himself. At a glance, she exuded an intense feeling of competence and experience in her attire. She was about 30 of age, but she took good care of herself. She had a fair complexion and beautiful face with a tall and slim figure. She was an exquisite beauty. Yi Lingchen shook his head to clear his head of the thought that suddenly came to him. He felt that this was a residual effect of the genius system. "Handsome boy, can you please give me your WeChat and phone number?" said the woman to Yi Lingchen with a smile. "Ha!" Yi Lingchen frowned ever so slightly. "You're a little too blatant, aren't you? You should pay attention to where you are at the very least." Yi Lingchen sensed Zhang Yunshi's expression change. There was an unknown hostility to her now. The woman continued to speak earnestly upon realizing Yi Lingchen's hesitation. "I have a favor to ask from you, please give me your number. I beg of you." Yi Lingchen looked at the woman, then nodded soon afterward. He took the pen and paper before he wrote down his contact information on the paper. Yi Lingchen got into the car. Zhang Yunshi's expression was as dim as a stormy sky. She took her seat sulkily. Yi Lingchen was only too glad of the leisure. He closed his eyes to rest in the back seat. In truth, he was not in the best condition. Arhat Fist truly deserved its reputation of being a widely known style of martial arts. Yi Lingchen had made a good display of its awesomeness today. However, Yi Lingchen was capable of winning his opponents today largely due to his luck as well. Arhat Fist was just a style of martial arts after all, and Yi Lingchen had never trained before. For example, the two bodyguards were as large as boulders. Even though Yi Lingchen was aware of the move, but his physical qualities were just as good as any ordinary person. He relied on the moves to achieve victory through skillful manipulation. Had the two bodyguards not been careless and fought against Yi Lingchen with brute force, Yi Lingchen would have been defeated for sure. His fists were still throbbing in pain indistinctly, which rendered him incapable of exerting strength for a short period. It was just like if an ordinary person punched a cow's body. It seemed like he would need to spend more time to train his Arhat Fist after this so he could improve his physical quality. Yi Lingchen. Before she got down from the car, Zhang Yunshi could not refrain herself anymore, but her charming eyes remained fixed upon Yi Ling anyhow. "You're capable of knowing so many things. I'm sure that your result won't be bad if you're willing to study seriously. I believe that you'll certainly be able to score well in the college entrance examination," said Zhang Yunshi after she paused for a long while. Yi Lingchen nodded calmly. He said with a smile, "You too. Work hard for your college entrance examination. Don't you fall behind me by then. Yi Lingchen's phone buzzed when he returned to his home. He took a glance and noticed that someone had sent him a friend request on WeChat. The person's display picture was a cute pink cartoon bunny. Hello, are you there? After approving the request, the person immediately sent over a very casual greeting. Yi Lingchen replied with a, "Yes, I'm here," in an arrogant manner. "Miracle doctor, do you know how to treat spondylosis?" The other person sent over a smiley face emoticon. So it turned out the person sought medical attention from him. Yi Lingchen was enlightened. He assumed that the person witnessed how he displayed his medical skills today and found him as a result. Xiao Feifei laid in bed. She was dressed in a pink gown that made her appear extremely kawaii. She looked at the screen of her phone anxiously as if she was waiting for something. To make a debut, she was constantly practicing hard on her dance moves and singing. It was common for her to adopt strange working habits such as working late at night and sleeping in the morning. Even though she did manage to become a huge celebrity as her wish, she suffered from the lingering effect of a chronic disease. She was easily lethargic these days. Moreover, her neck was sore and painful and she would frequently suffer from nausea. In fact, her voice was affected by a dry cough and was hoarse. This was considered an exceedingly crushing blow for a huge celebrity like her. Now that her condition had worsened, she visited a few famous hospitals, yet the effect of her treatment was a trifle next to nothing. Many doctors had even concluded that her condition was utterly incurable and could only be relieved by changing her lifestyle and having more rest. She was invited to the gathering in Hailing district this time. She was supposed to spend some time here as a distraction. However, she noticed Yi Lingchen's presence. She felt that this boy was not an ordinary person. Perhaps it was due to her desperate situation that she was willing to turn to any doctor she could find. She suddenly felt that Yi Lingchen would be able to help her possibly. Despite Xiao Feifei's anxiety, Yi Lingchen replied in a very simple manner, "Yes." Even though it was only a one-word reply, but it managed to stir up a huge storm in Xiao Feifei's heart. Her face flushed red in excitement. Those who had never experienced the torment of spondylosis would never understand how terrifying it was. She typed with shaking hands. "Really? Really? Sister Lin, Sister Lin." Xiao Feifei called out at once, "He is truly capable of treating it." Sister Lin walked over in quick strides and took a glance at Xiao Feifei helplessly. "Feifei, spondylosis is not that easily treatable. 9 out of 10 people that say that it is easily cured are con men." Even though she did not wish to crush Xiao Feifei's hope, Sister Lin still decided to advise her just so she would not be deceived. "No, I think that he is truly capable of curing it." Xiao Feifei spoke with determination, "You've seen what he did tonight. I can feel that he has something in him that other ordinary people don't." Sister Lin shook her head with a bitter smile on her face. "I don't think that you should get your hopes too high either. The greater the hope, the greater the disappointment." Yi Lingchen waited for a long time but there was no reply on his phone. "I think that the person is regarding me as a conman." He shook his head in a carefree manner. Traditional Chinese medicine prioritized the recuperation of one's health. He was genuinely skilled in treating spondylosis, but the patients would need to have confidence in him first. In the next moment, his phone vibrated. Yi Lingchen could not help drawing a cold breath upon taking a look at the screen. The person had transferred him money on WeChat directly to his surprise. Moreover, it was a total of 5,000 renminbi. F*ck me. This woman is rich. Miracle doctor, thank you for taking the trouble. This is the deposit, can you please come and see me tomorrow? Xiao Feifei sent over a pity-looking emoticon. "I can't do tomorrow because I have to go for my college entrance examination in 2 days. We should do it after my exam is done," replied Yi Lingchen. "Alright, it's settled then. Please accept the deposit first to put me at ease." Since the person had already said so, Yi Lingchen accepted the money because refusing it would be unmannerly. He had already planned to use this 5,000 renminbi to install a computer in his room. Sister Lin, he is truly a promising young man. He is just about to take the college entrance examination. Xiao Feifei gasped in admiration. Sister Lin nodded speechlessly, but she heaved a sigh softly in her heart. Miss, you're too naive. How can a young man of this age be skilled in medical practice? That's 5,000 renminbi and you've just transferred it to him so casually. Also, how is he considered a promising young man? You're not old as compared to him, right? Forget it, it's fine as long as you're happy. Chapter 13. 5,000 renminbi an hour. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 13. 5,000 renminbi an hour. Translator. Endless Fantasy Translation Editor. Endless Fantasy Translation. 3 years of preparations for the college entrance examination had led to this. On the 7th of June, Su Zhen woke Yi Lingchen up early in the morning. He got up, brushed his teeth and had breakfast at one go. Soon afterward, Su Zhen brought along Yi Lingchen to leave the house together with Yi Jin gazing at their departing silhouettes. They boarded the school bus and headed to the examination hall. The school bus bumped along the road. Su Zhen continued to brief Yi Lingchen on the important matters to look out for during the examination. At the same time, she consoled Yi Lingchen so he could be at ease without feeling overly stressed. What a coincidence, Sister Zhen. The school bus passed through Yi Lingchen's village, so it was very normal for them to bump into familiar faces. Lingchen is taking his examination in Rugao No. 1 High School as well. So is my Hu Zi. Ah, it's Xiao Mei and Hu Zi. What a coincidence. Su Zhen replied with a smile. She said to Yi Lingchen, "Greet Auntie Mei, quick." "Which examination hall is your Lingchen allocated to?" asked Auntie Mei. "Examination hall number 37. Number 37, that's the same for my Hu Zi too." What a huge coincidence. Aunt Mei chuckled once again and looked to Yi Lingchen. "Lingchen, how's your revision? Don't be too nervous about the college entrance examination. Try your best to score well in the examination." "He won't be nervous for sure. He's always getting the last place in his entire school all year long. What's there to be nervous about?" Hu Zi muttered softly by Auntie Mei's side. There was quite a large number of people that shifted their gaze upon Yi Lingchen subconsciously on the school bus. Su Zhen had a rather awkward expression. "Xiao Mei, your Hu Zi has always scored well in the examination. I'm sure that he's going to score well in this college entrance examination too. He's only on a normal level, I guess. He only scored 600 points in the third mock examination. He is only considered an average student." Auntie Mei spoke courteously, but there was a pride that could not be concealed in her voice. 600 points. I think the grade cut-off point for the previous year is only 506 points. If your son does well in this examination, perhaps he can get into elite or first-tier university. Someone immediately said that on the bus. The third mock examination is supposed to be difficult this time. 600 points is already very impressive, that's right. Your son is truly impressive. I'll be thanking heaven and earth if my son can get into first-tier university. I'm worried about my daughter feeling nervous. If she is capable of expressing her true abilities, it shouldn't be much of a problem for her to get into a first-tier university. Children's achievement would always be a topic of conversation for the parents. The parents were immediately engaged in a heated discussion on the school bus. Next, they began discussing about their children's performance in the usual examinations. At last, they began discussing the varieties of universities and the specialized fields of study available. There was only Su Zhen that sat over there with a dim expression. She played the role of a listener quietly. She found that she was truly incapable of discussing Yi Lingchen's performance. "Sister Zhen, don't worry. Your son can attend a technical school even if he does score badly. He is still capable of getting employed in the society just as others. Xiao Mei looked at Su Zhen and consoled her with a smile. Su Zhen smiled awkwardly, but she did not continue the conversation. Amid the lively discussion, the bus finally stopped in front of the entrance to number 1 high school. Lingchen, don't get stressed out. Do your best, said Su Zhen as she walked Yi Lingchen to the entrance of the school. Mom, I'm going to score first in this college entrance examination, said Yi Lingchen solemnly all of a sudden as she looked at her son. Su Zhen was stunned ever so slightly. She said with a bitter smile, silly child, just do your best in the examination. I'm going back to make you lunch. Mom, just wait and see. Yi Lingchen turned around and walked toward the examination hall upon saying. The first subject was Chinese language and literature. Yi Lingchen had never stopped writing from the moment he received the examination paper. He read 10 lines at one glance and wrote fluently as if he possessed godly writing powers. Half an hour later, he was already done writing the fundamental knowledge section in the first part of the essay. He spent another half an hour before he finished off the rest. Yi Lingchen handed in the examination paper in advance before all the shocked examinees and walked off. Hu Zi sat in the last row. He could not help cracking into a cold smile as he looked at Yi Lingchen. A poor student behaves just like a poor student. He lets matters slide just as expected. He took the mathematics examination in the afternoon. He completed the examination in half an hour from beginning to end. The next morning, the students had their science comprehensive ability test followed by an English examination in the afternoon. Yi Lingchen left both exams gracefully after half an hour, leaving the students with a view of his extravagantly defiant silhouette. Hu Zi shook his head. Yi Lingchen was completely unsalvageable. Hu Zi reckoned that he did pretty well in the examination, so it should not be a problem for him to get into a first-tier university. He would be worlds apart from Yi Lingchen in the future. In the schoolyard, Sister Lin drove a red Porsche sports car and waited outside of the entrance. I thought the college entrance examination is ending at 5 p.m. Why are you getting off so early? Sister Lin looked at Yi Lingchen in astonishment. The questions are too simple, so I handed in my exam paper in advance. Yi Lingchen shrugged. Sister Lin's gaze began to grow scornful as she looked at Yi Lingchen. There was no doubt that this person was most definitely a slacker, judging by how he finished the examination in half an hour. If he was regarding the college entrance examination as such, how could he be skilled in medical practice? Sister Lin subconsciously regarded Yi Lingchen as a conman there and then. You're already aware of my lady's condition. I must remind you first not to pretend to know what you don't know if you're incapable. You should come clean as soon as possible. We shall consider the 5,000 renminbi as a wasted gift on you. Otherwise, be careful that you might be legally sued. Fraud is no trifling matter. Sister Lin's sudden change in attitude made Yi Lingchen frown ever so slightly. He said indifferently, there's no need for you to be concerned about that. Since I have made her a promise, I'm confident things will work out. Even though Our Lady is naive in thinking, we have a specialized legal counsel team. You are wrong if you think that she can be easily deceived. Sister Lin looked at Yi Lingchen and scoffed coldly upon getting no reply from him. The red Porsche was as red as flames as it sped through the road. The Longhu community was built around Rugao City's natural lake known as the Longyu Lake. The entire estate was mainly made up of villas with over 60% of forest cover, which was built exclusively for the wealthy. Such an estate was the only choice for Xiao Feifei's as a temporary resting place, so she purchased it by herself. The estate was mostly covered in grass with a few crisscrossing footpaths for people with lush green trees that lined the two sides of the paths. There was an enormous lake located in the center of the estate with lake water sparkling in the sun. It was absolutely the best place for one to stay. Sister Lin guided Yi Lingchen to the front of a villa. He took a glance at Yi Lingchen with a cautious look in her eyes. Be careful after you enter the place. However, don't blame me for calling the police on you as soon as you do anything that is ever so slightly out of line. Yi Lingchen nodded casually. The villa had a very simple decoration with a layer of powdery white paint painted on its walls. However, it was fully furnished and every single piece of furniture was a luxury item made of red sandalwood. Everything in the villa showed that the owner of this villa was a stubborn wealthy person. Sister Lin, you're back. A crisp female voice was heard echoing from upstairs. She sounded like a cuckoo bird. Soon afterward, a graceful silhouette slowly walked out from above the stairs. Xiao Feifei. Yi Lingchen could not believe the young woman standing before himself. His heart was beating violently out of control. Xiao Feifei was a popular first-tier celebrity. She made her debut at the age of 16 and became well-known to people with her crystal-clear voice and graceful dance moves. Soon afterward, she had even acted in a popular television series which raised her popularity even more. She was only 20 years old at the moment, but the number of her fans had already broken through to 40 million at the very least. She was the goddess in the hearts of countless homebodies. However, the frequency of her making an appearance had dropped recently. However, her popularity remained as high as before. Regardless, Yi Lingchen had never expected that the person seeking medical attention from him would be Xiao Feifei. If this was the past, he was a grain of sand on the ground if Xiao Feifei was the bright moon in the sky. There was a vast difference between the two. That's me. So you've just learned that it's me, huh? Xiao Feifei winked at Yi Lingchen cheekily. She was dressed in a rather casual manner at home. She was simply draped in a loose pajamas. Yi Lingchen stood under the stairs and looked up to her. He had an awkwardness on his expression as he turned his head to the side unnaturally. He swallowed a gulp of saliva in secret. Boomf. I'm such a sucker for beautiful women. It was apparent that Xiao Feifei realized something. Her cheeks blushed a bright scarlet. She wrinkled her nose before she wrapped her bathrobe even tighter. It's best that you don't talk about today's incident to outsiders. Otherwise, you'll be served with a lawyer's letter soon. Sister Lin threatened Yi Lingchen just as before. Soon afterward, she said, I thought you said that you can cure Feifei's condition. Tell us how, quick. Yi Lingchen suppressed the anger in his heart. He inhaled a deep breath and said, spondylosis is caused by pathological changes to the spine. The spine is the most important part of the human body that spreads out nerves to the entire body. It can affect all parts of the human body, and forced treatment on the spine will only result in a counter-reaction, so we can only manage the condition conservatively. Nonsense. Sister Lin's expression worsened. Yi Lingchen's words could be searched even on Baidu. Yi Lingchen shook his head. He continued to speak in a calm and composed manner, one should not rush the treatment of spondylosis. I can adapt massage and acupuncture techniques to encourage the gradual recovery of the spine. Judging by the severity of Lady Zhao's condition, 6 months will suffice. Massage. Acupuncture. 6 months. Sister Lin's expression had already darkened. She angrily barked, I think that you're just bold enough to run an extreme risk for sex. You wish to seize the opportunity to take advantage of Lady Zhao. Which part of the massage and acupuncture did not involve skin-to-skin contact? Xiao Feifei was also frowning for a moment. As a celebrity, she was very disgusted by this topic of conversation. She would try her best to reject this form of service even if she was attending a gala dinner on the usual days. There were too many filthy things that she had heard about in the circle. The spine is quite different from the rest. This is my only treatment method. If all of you don't believe in me, I can leave now and return 5,000 renminbi untouched, said Yi Lingchen in neither a haughty nor humble manner. He was angered in his heart. Was a celebrity allowed to be so arrogant then? I am a man gifted with the system after all. After rejecting me for so many days, I'm just going to become the man that you will never get. Sister Lin, why don't we let him have a try, said Xiao Feifei suddenly after hesitating for a moment as she looked at Yi Lingchen. You can't do that. Sister Lin panicked instantly. Your body is a temple. You won't even let people touch your hand on the usual days. How could you let another person? Yet, I truly am feeling very uncomfortable. My head is dizzy all the time. Moreover, I think that he is truly capable of helping me, said Xiao Feifei. Sister Lin quieted down. He looked at Yi Lingchen with shimmering eyes. In the end, she said, I can agree to that for you. However, you must first give me a massage before you wish to massage Feifei. Show me if you are truly capable of curing the condition. No problem. Yi Lingchen nodded. The massage is charged by the hour. 1 hour is 5,000 renminbi. What? Sister Lin thought that she had heard it wrong. She spoke in bewilderment, how much for an hour? 5,000 renminbi. Yi Lingchen spoke calmly in an indifferent attitude. Xiao Feifei was without a doubt a wealthy woman. On the other hand, Yi Lingchen found Sister Lin's attitude toward him unpleasant. He was feeling angered in his heart, so he made up his mind to express his stubbornness. You must be crazy. Sister Lin was laughing from the rage. Do you know that someone once offered the price of 100,000 renminbi just so he could touch Feifei's hand? Don't you mess around, you unappreciative prick. That's someone else. This is my fixed price, replied Yi Lingchen coolly. You. Sister Lin pointed to Yi Lingchen with a trembling hand. She found that it was truly unacceptable that she would need to pay him when he was the only one taking advantage of her. Sister Lin, it's not an expensive price to pay if the treatment is effective. Xiao Feifei behaved as if it was well justified. Sure. 5,000 renminbi it is then. If the treatment is ineffective, don't blame me for suing you for fraud. Sister Lin glared at Yi Lingchen. She spoke to Yi Lingchen through clenched teeth. She had already made up her mind that she would need to display her prowess at Yi Lingchen first regardless of whether Yi Lingchen's massage was effective or not. Chapter 14. Yielded. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 14. Yielded. Translator. Endless Fantasy Translation Editor. Endless Fantasy Translation. Lay on the bed. I'll be treating you now, said Yi Lingchen with carefree grace as he had completely disregarded Sister Lin's hostility. What? You want me to lie? Lie on the bed? Sister Lin was slightly astonished. That's right. How am I going to perform Tui Na on you if you don't lie down? Yi Lingchen answered in a well-justified manner. Yet. This is. Sister Lin displayed a little woman-like behavior completely out of character as compared to her attitude earlier. She clenched her teeth. If you're a conman, I'll never let you off. Yi Lingchen followed Sister Lin into a room. The entire room was tidy and everything was arranged in good order. There were not many things in the room. Only a bed, a wardrobe, and an office table with a laptop on it. There was a scent in a room that was the same as the perfumed scent radiating from Sister Lin's body. There was no doubt that this was Sister Lin's room. Go ahead. Sister Lin lay down and looked at Yi Lingchen with a fully cautious look in her eyes. She warned him, don't just simply touch me anywhere you like. Also, you must stop when I order you to. Yi Lingchen nodded and walked to the side of the bed. Yi Lingchen had no choice but to admit that Sister Lin took good care of herself truthfully. There was utterly no way to tell her age. It was only that she was nervous at this very moment. She's so nervous. It can't be that she is still unmarried, right? Yi Lingchen pondered to himself. However, this was a highly possible scenario. It was not unusual for a successful woman like her to be wholeheartedly devoted to her job. She might have never been in a relationship, let alone being married. A moment later, Yi Lingchen raised his hand and extended his left index finger to press onto the back of Sister Lin's neck first. At this very moment, it was apparent that Sister Lin was extremely nervous and her body was slightly tensed. Yi Lingchen disregarded her, but he began to massage the point with a solemn expression. A wave of electric current like numbness was produced along the Tue Na point. She felt awkward at the beginning and found it hard to relax. However, she could gradually feel Yi Lingchen's finger which seemed to be heating up. She felt as if the back of her neck was on fire. She felt a gush of warmness that drove away her excess coldness such that she shivered from the sensation. Another reason that causes spondylosis is the excess coldness inside the body. The excess coldness is hidden inside the human body and it is accumulated over a long time. One does not feel it on usual days, but it will cause a lot of issues when too much has accumulated, said Yi Lingchen while he was performing the massage. Boomf, Sister Lin scoffed dully. There was no way to tell if her scoff was due to disdain or approval. It was only that her current voice had completely lost its prior powerfulness. On the contrary, she sounded as if she was a spoiled child. Meanwhile, Yi Lingchen changed his technique. He began to massage along the cervical vertebrae on the back of her neck slowly. His right hand was raised as well to perform Tue Na from bottom to top. Sister Lin appeared to be even more nervous now. It felt as if Yi Lingchen's hands carried a form of peculiar magic power. She felt like her entire body was electrocuted where he massaged. It felt incomparably numb to the point that she was rendered incapable of exerting the slightest ounce of strength. Moreover, the pressure points of the massage were exceedingly accurate. He was capable of pressing onto her blocked blood vessels at all times. The cells inside her entire body trembled and she could not stop it even if she wanted to. Be gentle. By the time Yi Lingchen pressed onto the center of her spine, Sister Lin could not help exclaiming about feeling a piercing pain over that area. You spend a lot of time on the computer on usual days. The blood vessels in this area are severely blocked. If this continues, you'll be feeling dizzy as well. Please try to hold on, said Yi Lingchen. He continued to massage that area without listening to her protests. Spondylosis was already a commonly seen condition in this world. It could be said that everyone had it at some point in their lives. Sister Lin's situation was only slightly better than Xiao Feifei. Ouch! Sister Lin held back with great effort. Sister Lin, how do you feel? Xiao Feifei could not help feeling concerned for her. She had no idea what was the significance of Sister Lin's symptoms. It's nothing much. This is not that different from the spa treatment that we do. It's numb and ticklish. Pretty much the same, said Sister Lin stubbornly. She would not admit that Yi Lingchen's massage was effective. Yi Lingchen raised his eyebrows ever so slightly and cracked into a cunning smile. He began exerting more strength in his hands. Sister Lin was stubborn and reluctant to admit her mistakes. He wanted to make her yield this time. Otherwise, she could pose a threat to him in the future. A few minutes later, Sister Lin felt that the pain around that area had begun to reduce gradually and replaced by an exceedingly comfortable sensation. The feeling was ineffable. It felt as if the meridians in that area were moving in such a way that she felt like her body was about to convulse. Theoretically, the feeling should be unpleasant, but instead, she felt that it was extremely comfortable. She did not want it to end at all. The feeling grew stronger and stronger as Yi Lingchen continued to massage further down. Moreover, it had spread to her entire body such that even her spirit and soul were shivering along. You can make a sound if you can't stand it anymore. It will be even more effective that way, reminded Yi Lingchen kindly. Sister Lin clenched her teeth and refused to reply. I can't lose. I'll never yield to him. Yi Lingchen disregarded her response, but he focused on the task at hand to move her blocked blood vessels. At a certain moment, Sister Lin finally could not refrain herself anymore, but she moaned from the depths of her throat. The chickens have come home to roost, the chickens have come home to roost. It's just a massage, does it need to go so far as this? Xiao Feifei had begun to grow restless as she sat at the side. Sister Lin's voice echoed into her ears and made her blush in embarrassment. She found that situation to be slightly uncomfortable for her. She had never seen Sister Lin behave in such manner. She was not the same cold and arrogant woman she was on the usual days. Xiao Feifei cautiously took a glance at Yi Lingchen. She could not help lowering her head. Nervousness crept onto her heart involuntarily as she became reminded that it was her turn next. Should I reject the service, yet I find that I kind of look forward to it too. What should I do? Oh. All of a sudden, Sister Lin's body stiffened abruptly. The treatment has ended, said Yi Lingchen. Sister Lin, how do you feel? Asked Xiao Feifei with a blushing face. Fine. I'm fine. Sister Lin avoided Feifei's gaze. Her body was almost slumping limply on the bed. She got up shakily. I'm going to take a shower. She dared not even look toward Yi Lingchen. She was supposed to put Yi Lingchen on the spot, yet she did not expect that she would embarrass herself in such manner. Sister Lin fled the scene in disorder, leaving behind only Yi Lingchen and Xiao Feifei. The young man and woman gazed into the eyes of one another awkwardly. The atmosphere in the room originally felt slightly cozy. At present, it was filled with a more intimate feeling. Be gentle when you're performing the Tue Na manipulation. I can't stand the pain, said Xiao Feifei as she looked at Yi Lingchen with her blushing face. Sure. Yi Lingchen nodded. When Xiao Feifei laid herself on the bed before Yi Lingchen's forced calmness had also begun to melt away. Even though Sister Lin was beautiful, Yi Lingchen acknowledged that he was still capable of suppressing his desires. Xiao Feifei was already beyond what was describable as beautiful. She was just like a fairy maiden that had fallen into the mortal world. She was graceful, pure, and exquisite. There was only the sound of their breathing in that quiet room. Medical practitioners must be as compassionate as the patient's parents. I must control myself. Yi Lingchen had to remind himself of that constantly. He inhaled a deep breath. A person capable of marrying a woman like this is definitely a winner in life. He exclaimed emotionally in his heart while he began to massage her cautiously. Xiao Feifei's body was much more sensitive as compared to Sister Lin's. She would moan aloud every once in a while. Veins were popping out on Yi Lingchen's forehead. His face flushed scarlet as if his brain was swelling up. Lady Xiao, please control yourself. Try not to make any sounds as best as you can. Yi Lingchen kindly reminded her to ensure the safety of both parties. Xiao Feifei shrank back a little and said in embarrassment, yet, I really can't stand it anymore. God damn it. Yi Lingchen's hands trembled for a moment. He rubbed his nose hastily to check if he was having a nosebleed. 1 hour later, Yi Lingchen left the villa in a shabby state. His entire person was drenched in sweat. He patted his flushed burning cheeks. It was a high-risk job. This was absolutely a high-risk job. Fortunately, he had a shocking amount of self-control. He was a gentleman of honor. Otherwise, something would surely happen. Buzz. His phone vibrated. Xiao Feifei transferred another 5,000 renminbi to him with an attached message, thank you. I feel much better. I'll make another appointment later. Joyous emoticon, the 5,000 renminbi from this session combined with the 5,000 renminbi deposit from earlier was equal to 10,000 renminbi. He made 10,000 renminbi in 2 hours. Even though it was a torturous process, the returns were quite impressive. Yi Lingchen cracked into a smile. It's a profitable session. I'll take it again if you make another appointment later. I'm not afraid of you. So what if it's a high-risk job? I have no choice because I'm a doctor. Treating patients and saving people's lives are my duties. I swear that I'm not doing this for the money. Chapter 15. Master Grave. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 15. Master Grave Translator. Endless Fantasy Translation Editor. Endless Fantasy Translation. After Xiao Feifei's massage session had ended, Sister Lin hid in her room and refused to come out for some unknown reason. Yi Lingqian did not expect the huge celebrity Xiao Feifei to send him off personally either. So, he could only hail a taxi home. Fortunately, he had just made a good amount of money recently. The taxi fare was nothing for him. After he got into the taxi, Yi Lingqian had just noticed that there were a dozen unread messages in his WeChat app. These messages were all sent by the same friend. Was it Lang Lang? Yi Lingqian frowned ever so slightly. He pondered for a moment before he remembered the friend's identity. Why? God, are you there? F*CKU, how dare you not reply me? Are you running away for fear of punishment? Reply me now. Yi Lingqian was troubled. He could sense the other person's rage across the screen. After the few messages, it was estimated that Lang Lang could not be bothered to type out the messages anymore. She straightforwardly sent over voice clips instead. Yi Lingqian pressed play after hesitating for a moment. B***st* road. Speak to me. It was your fault that you affected me so badly. You must pay your dues until the end. You're not a man if you don't reply to me. All these messages were sent over during the 2-hour period when he was engaged in the massage session. The newest message was sent 10 minutes ago. Yi Lingqian had a forced expression on his face as he looked at the phone. He wondered if he should reply to her. Young boy, have you been quarreling with your girlfriend? Meanwhile, the taxi driver suddenly looked toward Yi Lingqian with a shady expression. Yi Lingqian shook his head while smiling bitterly. Uncle, there's a misunderstanding. We are not. There's no need to explain anymore. Uncle understands all. The uncle cast Yi Lingqian an understanding glance. Uncle has been a person of your age before. I know. Judging by this girl's voice, I'm sure that she is quite pretty, right? Judging by her tone, she cares about you very much too. Young boy, you must hold on to her. The uncle continued to speak with sincere words and earnest wishes. A man must be willing to take charge. It's not that easy to find true love at this age. There was a true love waiting for me right before myself once. I didn't appreciate it and I only regret it after I had lost it. The most agonizing pain in this mortal world is but as such. The uncle talked about the many vicissitudes of life. His gaze was filled with despair and sorrow. He exclaimed emotionally, young boy, don't you follow the uncle's old path, huh? Uncle, you were using a script from the movies earlier. Yi Lingqian reminded kindly, also, you seem to have jumped a red light there earlier. What? The uncle had a drastic change of expression. He began to wallow in self-pity and became even more depressed. It was hard to make the talkative uncle quiet down. Now that he had quieted down, Yi Lingqian looked toward his phone once again. He pondered for a moment before he typed, I'm sorry. I was taking the college entrance examination. You've replied finally. You're taking the college entrance examination. You're still so young. Yi Lingqian was surprised at how soon the other person could reply. Humph. I shall forgive you since you're taking the college entrance examination. Lang Lang replied arrogantly, then she continued, however, it's your fault for affecting me so badly. You must help me to avenge myself. What happened? Yi Lingqian sent over an inquisitive emoticon. Soon, Lang Lang sent over a long message comprised of many words. So it turned out that there were circles in both the Dota world or the live streaming world. Lang Lang had a sweet voice, a beautiful face, and her arrogantly cold attitude. She was the topic of conversation in these two circles. However, she was pushed to the tip of the storm due to the 4 continuous defeat during the opening earlier. She became a target of banter for these people. There was a large number of jesters and anti-fans that appeared on her WeChat page, and she had even made it to WeChat's hottest topics. Just moments earlier, she was similarly ridiculed mercilessly by a gamer in Dota named Loveletter. To prove herself, Leng Leng proposed for a solo mode match against Loveletter. However, she was defeated badly in the end. This had resulted in even more people taunting at her, so she came looking for Yilingchen. Leng Leng described her situation like she was in a tragedy. As if she was abandoned by the entire world. On the other hand, all of this was started by the evildoer Yilingchen. "What do you want me to do?" replied Yilingchen in slight embarrassment. "Take me to Immortal Tier." Leng Leng replied quickly. "They taunt me, so I will fight my way to become the first in Immortal Tier. I want to smack them right in the face." "So you have so much confidence in me that I can do it?" asked Yilingchen. "I don't care. You must take me to become the first. Otherwise, I'll never forgive you," said Leng Leng ferociously. "Sure. However, I'm not free today. Let's do it tomorrow." The college entrance examination had ended. Anyhow, Yilingchen was unoccupied, so he agreed. Of course, live streaming could make him some money. Most importantly, dawn was just breaking the next day. Xiao Feifei did not stay in bed anymore as opposed to her usual habit. Not only had she gotten up early, she felt refreshed and energized. She walked to the front of a mirror habitually. She screamed out in surprise instantaneously after taking a glance of herself in the mirror. "Sister Lin, Sister Lin." Xiao Feifei was as excited as a little girl. She dashed to the front of Sister Lin in excitement. "Look, Sister Lin. My dark eye circles are gone, and also, the pimples on my left cheek are gone too." As a popular celebrity, she paid a great deal of attention to maintain her complexion. Any little flaw on her face would riddle her with anxiety. She could only use makeup to conceal these flaws on the usual days. However, these flaws had all vanished just after a good night's sleep. Ha! In the next moment, Xiao Feifei gazed upon Sister Lin with a judgmental look in her eyes. "Sister Lin, why do I feel like your skin is much more moisturized and the color of your face is turning pinker?" Xiao Feifei expressed her surprise as if she had just discovered a brand new continent. "Really?" Sister Lin smiled. She had also discovered the changes to her complexion similarly when she woke up this morning. "It seems like Yilingchen's massage is truly effective. I have never felt as relaxed as I've been today before. I'll be asking him to massage me frequently from now on," exclaimed Xiao Feifei emotionally. However, she could not help blushing as soon as she thought about what Yilingchen did to herself yesterday. Her entire body felt limp. At present, Yilingchen had already completed his routine cleanup. As compared to the city where every inch of land was costly, the best part about living in a village was its space. Every house in the village had its own courtyard. There even 200 acres of farmland stretched out in front of the courtyard. A river ran through the land, away from the crowdedness and noise of the city. The scene was as exquisite as a painting. Yilingchen enjoyed the early morning very much. Droplets of dew accentuate the plants under the slightly dimmed sky. There was no artificial lighting and all sounds were hushed. Yilingchen walked out to the back courtyard and assumed a stance before he began to train his Arhat fist. Arhat fist was the rudimental fighting style of Shaolin Kung Fu. Even though it was only a rudimentary fighting style, but it was the foundation of Kung Fu. It included a wide range of techniques including hand methods, kick methods, and etc. Due to the presence of the genius system, Yilingchen had utterly no need for a master's guidance. He could achieve an accuracy of 100% for his Arhat fist postures. Arhat fist was developed into 18 postures. Every posture required high physical endurance and tenacity. Yilingchen was already panting loudly after conducting the training for one round. He felt waves of soreness rippling through the muscles of his arms and legs. He felt as if his limbs were about to fall off. This technique truly deserves its reputation of being the orthodox Shaolin Kung Fu's teachings. It is much better at strengthening the body as compared to the aerobics in school. Yi Lingchen was not surprised but joyous for the result. This had proven that Arhat Fist was truly effective in strengthening the body precisely. After taking a shower, Yi Lingchen found that the fatigue had diminished. He felt refreshed and energized. His body felt as light as a sparrow. The effect was so obvious despite having only trained for one round. Perhaps, he could even become a martial art master if he were to continue training in such a manner. Buzz. His phone vibrated. It was from Ling Ling. "Why, God, are you awake? Let's play." "So early. I thought you usually stream in the afternoon." "I can't wait anymore. I'm asking you again, are you in?" It was apparent that Ling Ling could not resist the hunger anymore after being wronged for so long. Coming. There was a Wanyu gaming cafe that was located about 1 kilometer away from Yi Lingchen's house. He ran at full speed all the way there. Yi Lingchen realized that he was only feeling shortness of breath but he did not even sweat at all. Perhaps it was due to the end of the college entrance examination, the gaming cafe was already filled with people. The place was bubbling with noises and voices. The odor of cigarettes, alcohol, and sweat filled the place. Cursing voices were heard occasionally. The gaming atmosphere in this place was incomparably thick. He found a corner seat and turned on the computer. He logged into the game and found that Ling Ling was already waiting for him online. "Why, God, you're finally here," said Ling Ling at once through the microphone. "I'm sorry. Shall we matchmake now?" asked Yi Lingchen. During the matchmaking process, the fans that were subscribed to Y. God had also begun to enter the channel in succession. Even though there were only a few hundred people, but it did turn the live channel into a bustling room. Whoa! Y. God is online finally. Y. God, here's a friendly reminder to you. As a streamer, you're gonna lose your fans if you're so stubborn. Haven't you noticed yet? Y. God is going to gank up with Goddess Ling Ling. I sense an ominous premonition, ENVF*CK. I'm afraid that the cold goddess has already been degraded. I'm sorry. I've been taking the college entrance examination for the past few days. Next, I'll be taking you into the game through Shadow Fiend's first-person view, said Yi Lingchen in the live channel. He chose the Shadow Fiend and entered the mid lane at once. 3 minutes later, Yi Lingchen took 1 point off the mid lane opponent's HP at once. 8 minutes later, Yi Lingchen's Shadow Fiend achieved beyond godlike, so the opponent chose to log out from the game. In the second round, the same situation occurred again. Yi Lingchen interacted and chatted with his teammates while he was playing the game. It was incomparably relaxing without even an ounce of stress. After being MVP for 5 continuous rounds, he was only matched with slightly more powerful opponents without his notice. However, these opponents were still finished off with one blow by Yi Lingchen just as before. He was defeating all his opponents by complete suppression. Ling Ling followed Yi Lingchen all the way and enjoyed the feeling of doing nothing to win from the start to end. He won a total of 10 rounds continuously. The entire live channel was completely astir. That is too crazy, right? How can he play the Shadow Fiend so powerfully? For some unknown reason, it feels most satisfying when I watch Y. God playing games. Every control of his is executed smoothly to perfection. It feels like I'm watching a television series. I agree with the person above. I feel just the same. I feel like I'm learning a lot just by watching the streamer playing the game. However, I noticed that it's utterly impossible to do when I try to utilize the technique on my own. That is because your APM is too slow. The streamer's APM is amazing. He had won a total of 10 rounds and was voted MVP for all rounds. It was absolutely hardcore. Even the majority of professional gamers could not do that. Lang Lang was more surprised than anybody else. She was well aware that there were skilled players in the game during all 10 rounds. However, these skilled players were no different from noobs when fighting against Yi Lingchen. Most importantly, Yi Lingchen had been using only the Shadow Fiend from the beginning to the end. Currently, Yi Lingchen's hero Shadow Fiend accumulated a terrifying 3,000 points. This had proven that he had already achieved professional level control over the Shadow Fiend. Why God, you're truly abnormal. Lang Lang condensed thousands and thousands of words into one sentence. Shall we continue? Asked Yi Lingchen. Go on. The 11th round of matchmaking took a longer time than before. This had proven that the system had already categorized them as experts. They were going to fight against the experts in the Expert League now. Matchmaking process would usually take only a dozen seconds, but it took a total of 2 long minutes before they were matched. They entered the room. Yi Lingchen's gaze swept past the players and landed on one of the IDs in the opposing team. It was Master Grave. The name was overbearing and extravagant enough. That's Love Letter, said Lang Lang through her clenched teeth. He's Love Letter. Yi Lingchen remembered that Lang Lang told him about how she lost to Love Letter in solo mode. You should be careful this round. He was a professional gamer in the past and very powerful, said Lang Lang. Then, she continued and said, also, you must take me along and defeat him. That's Love Letter. The streamer has been matched to Love Letter. He, it's going to be exciting. Everyone, let's make a bet. Who do you think will win? That's so exciting. Do you feel like you're watching a blockbuster movie? The popcorn has already been prepared. I'm going to sit and watch the streamer gets F***ked. I think so too. I'm afraid that the streamer's winning streak record is about to be broken. As he watched his live stream channel boiling over with excitement, Yi Lingchen could feel Love Letter's powerful appeal as well. Then, his number of fans would soar if he could defeat Love Letter, right? Chapter 16. Never show off one's talents and capabilities. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 16. Never show off one's talents and capabilities. Translator. Endless Fantasy Translation Editor. Endless Fantasy Translation Game joined. Cold, you've actually arrived at expert level so soon, huh? You must be cheating, right? At the start of the game, Master Grave began sending messages in the all.chat box in an extremely provocative tone. Love Letter, wait and see. I'm going to defeat you in this round, replied Cold. You said that the previous time too, continued Love Letter. Cold refused to speak straightforwardly, but she said to Yi Lingchen, why God, this lad enjoys being disrespectful the most. Please help me to teach him a lesson and I'll promise you one condition. He, what am I hearing about promising one condition? Like any condition. He, Cold Goddess, do you know that you're trying to entice him into committing a crime? He. As soon as Cold's words were spoken, a wave of howling voices broke out in her live channel instantaneously along with Yi Lingchen and Love Letter's live channel. Why God, you must resist the temptation. Why God, you must control yourself. Come on, big brother Love Letter. Don't you watch helplessly as Cold Goddess gets ruined by the pig. Big brother Love Letter, guardian goddess, all is dependent on your decision. Love Letter suddenly felt like he was growing bigger and taller as he looked at his live channel because he was shouldering the holy duty of protecting the goddess' virginity. Don't worry, everyone. Why God will never defeat me, declared Love Letter to his teammates. Then, he realized that his declaration was still inadequate, so he typed into the game's chat box. Why God, come and fight against me for 300 rounds. Awesome. You truly deserve the reputation of being the almighty Love Letter. I'm here for your overbearing mannerisms. Big brother Love Letter is taking this seriously. This round is a sure win. The corners of Yi Lingchen's lips curled up ever so slightly. He pondered for a moment before he replied by typing out similarly. There's no need to go through the trouble. 5 from you from the opposing team should come fight me at one go. Whoa. F*CK, he's arrogant. He's ostentatious. How dare he shows off himself before love letter. A moment of joy in showing off, end up struck by lightning from the sky. Yi Lingqian's arrogance elevated the atmosphere of the live channel to its climax once again. The game had not started yet, there was already evidence of an argument about to happen. Yi Lingqian disregarded the rest of the matters and chose Shadow Fiend before he continued to take the mid lane. Cold chose the Sacred Warrior while Love Letter chose the Bounty Hunter. The rest of the people chose the heroes of their choice separately. The experts were treating the game more seriously than usual. The Invoker relied on auto-attack mode mainly. There was no need of especially powerful skills in controlling the hero but the player's flank timing and leeching ability. The Bounty Hunter was different. It had an invisible ability that was exceedingly sneaky and required the player's precise control. It was absolutely capable of affecting the entire battle situation if the player was skilled. Love Letter's confidence in winning this round was clearly displayed. Karl the Invoker was on the same lane as Yi Lingqian. Perhaps it was due to his knowledge of Yi Lingqian's impressive gaming skills, he was sneaky. He would not give Yi Lingqian any chance to kill him and he was exceedingly skilled in last-hitting. He was an opponent with a very sturdy foundation. Yi Lingqian immediately changed his strategy as soon as he realized he did not stand a chance to kill the opponent. He began to use Shadow Rays to clear off the lane creeps so he could kill all the opposing team's creeps. The act of controlling the lane creeps should be given primary importance in last-hitting. Yi Lingqian's action immediately drawn in the doubts of his teammates. I'm going to teach everyone a skill to control the Shadow Fiend, said Yi Lingqian calmly as he was confronted with doubt. Next, he left the mid lane and entered the jungle. After launching an attack at the neutral creeps, he returned to the lane once again. The opposing team's lane creeps caught up just in time at the moment. Yi Lingqian controlled the Shadow Fiend to advance and used his Shadow Rays to clear off the creeps just as before. What is the streamer trying to do there? Why would he launch just one attack at the neutral creeps? He's been pushing the creeps toward the opposing side all this time. On the contrary, he stops himself from accumulating experience as a result. He's King Fool. The opposing side is hiding under the tower to last hit. Don't enjoy this too much, alright. A new skill. You must be bluffing. The streamer is too arrogant now. The fans in his live channel were all confused just as before. However, Yi Lingqian did not bother to explain but he played in loops according to his procedure. Every single person was playing the game solemnly in this round. No one was killed for a full 5 minutes. In the midst of the calmness, there was a suffocating sensation akin to the calm before the storm. First blood. Master Grave killed Cold.v. In the 6th minute, the first blood was spilled. Love Letter had actually killed Cold to everyone's surprise. Double kill. Master Grave killed Unyielding King. It was a double kill surprisingly. In the next moment, Love Letter typed a question mark into the game chat box to mock the opposing team. The situation turned unfavorable in an instant. It was apparent that Cold's lane had collapsed. God, come to the bot lane to help me with killing Love Letter. He's too powerful. Cold could not refrain herself from seeking Yi Lingqian's help. He has invisibility. I'll be led by the nose if I go over now. It's a waste of time, replied Yi Lingqian in a very straightforward manner. What should I do then, muttered Cold unwillingly. Come over to my side, said Yi Lingqian. Cold was stunned ever so slightly. She had just respawned so she walked over to Shadow Fiend's side dubiously. Your rank is too low. Follow me to accumulate some experience. Yi Lingqian walked toward the jungle. I thought that I'm already rubbing off your experience by doing this, asked Cold in puzzlement. However, she found that she was speechless soon. Her mouth was gaping because she was dumbstruck with astonishment. What the H*LL? What the H*CK is that? Is that real? Why are there so many neutral creeps in his jungle? M*TH*RF*CK*R. There are so many neutral creeps that I can feel a tingle on my scalp just by looking at it. I'm just going to say it. In the initial stage, so many of these neutral creeps are enough to kill any hero. Have you seen Cold's expression? She was so surprised she couldn't even close her mouth. Ha, stop laughing, the person above me. I can't close my mouth either. How did you do that? Cold drew in a cold breath. The area that was supposed to contain only a few neutral creeps had actually refreshed and spawned over 20 neutral creeps now. It was exceedingly creepy looking. Yi Lingchen smiled. Everyone knows that a new wave of neutral creeps is spawned every minute. As a result, I will only need to lure in the neutral creeps into their territory, then a new wave of neutral creeps will be spawned again over here. I chose the right timing earlier so I can lure the neutral creeps out of their territory after launching an attack at them. My dearie. That's impressive. How come I never thought of that before in the past? How much experience and money has he invested into the game to become such an expert? He has hit the jackpot. The Shadow Fiend has the Shadow Rays ability that inflicts ranged damage. As a result, it's capable of clearing off the neutral creeps quickly. Learning how to jungling is good for earning additional gold and experience. Yi Lingchen found a suitable angle to unleash the Shadow Rays while he was explaining to his fans. A total of 5 waves of neutral creeps were cleared off quickly. Yi Lingchen and Cold had increased by 1 rank simultaneously. Moreover, Yi Lingchen's gold had also increased close to 2,000 at one go. Cool. The streamer truly deserves his reputation of being a streamer. I've learned something today. I'm eager to try it out. I want to play around with the hero Shadow Fiend too. The streamer makes playing Shadow Fiend looks easy. Killing spree. Master Grave killed Unyielding King. Master Grave is on a killing spree. At the same time, Love Letter began killing at the bot lane once again. The situation remained tense just as before. Alright, almost there. Yi Lingchen spoke indifferently. He had not purchased any armor or attribute boosting item, but he chose the Blink Dagger. It was an item capable of allowing him to leap across a certain distance. He took a glance at the bot lane and noticed that 2/3 of Gondar the Bounty Hunter's HP bar was still full after killing others. Yi Lingchen did not procrastinate, but he teleported to the bot lane at once. Love Letter seemed to have sensed danger. He bored into the jungle by the side and vanished from everyone's sight. Yi Lingchen did not hesitate, but he followed after Love Letter to enter the jungle. Be careful, Y.God. Bounty Hunter is skilled in invisibility. It's useless for you to go after him. On the contrary, you might expose yourself, reminded Cold. However, Yi Lingchen disregarded her. He strolled around the jungle as if he was a fool. He walked to the left and swayed to the right. Y.God, what are you doing? Don't act on impulse. Cold had panicked. Yi Lingchen was obviously in the process of seeking doom. At the same time, an arrogant-looking youth sitting in front of his computer with his legs crossed was seen in Love Letter's live channel. He was watching the Shadow Fiend in the computer's screen. Ha, brothers and sisters, Y.God doesn't seem to be that impressive, huh? He doesn't even know that I'm strolling right in front of him. LA. He turned on invisibility and lingered by Shadow Fiend's side as he waited for his teammates to gather so they could kill Shadow Fiend. The Shadow Fiend was already a dead man in his eyes. He could not help humming a joyful tune at the thought of his plan. However, Shadow Fiend that was still walking left and right originally suddenly raised its hand and blasted shadow rays, near. The pitch-black effect of Shadow Fiend's ability covered its entire body. Shadow Fiend's HP reduced by half instantaneously. The blink dagger was seen shimmering and Shadow Fiend had already leapt to the other spot even before Love Letter had reacted to the situation. Shadow Fiend turned around gracefully and casted second Shadow Rays spell on the same spot once again. God ended Master Graves' killing spree. A sentence appeared on the screen. It made Love Letter sank into a dumbfounded state. He could not believe that he had already died. Ugh, this feels bad. F***ck, what happened? How did Shadow Fiend know that Bounty Hunter was there? He's a noob, absolutely a noob. He must have cheated. F***ck**R is shameless for cheating. Love Letter's live channel was flooded with cursing and scolding voices at once. The atmosphere was completely different from Cold and Yilingchen's live channels. Their live channels was completely astir. Their screens were flooded with people praising them because these people were aware that Yilingchen did not cheated. God is awesome. How did he do that? Could it be that this is the legendary male instincts? He diminished Love Letter's arrogance as soon as he made an appearance. That's so cool. Due to Love Letter's pride, I'm sure that he won't be returning to his lane instantly. He would be strolling around my side after noticing that I had entered the jungle. Yilingchen explained before Cold could even ask. I was strolling around the jungle earlier in an attempt to lure in Love Letter. It was during that precise moment when I sensed the Shadow Fiend tilting ever so slightly when it was walking. Even though Bounty Hunter was capable of turning invisible, but I could still touch him. Shadow Fiend's tilting body was enough to prove that I bumped into Bounty Hunter moments ago. F***ck**ing impressive. He deserves the reputation of being a god. His observation skills are superb. Big brother, please take my loyalty. Good job, God. Cold praised aloud. Soon afterward, she typed a question mark into the game chat box proudly and considered that as an appropriate reply to Love Letter's mockery earlier. **T. The game has not ended yet. Love Letter smoked a cigarette deeply and remembered God.Wise ID. Next, it was apparent that the opposing team had begun to fear that Shadow Fiend. They would avoid it at all costs during every encounter. Despite that, the Shadow Fiend still managed to kill 3 opponents while Love Letter had only managed to come out to leech occasionally by relying on his invisibility. He had already killed 9 opponents. However, Love Letter had apparently neglected Yilingchen's ability to earn gold in the game. Shadow Fiend was already equipped with items at the moment. He was even displaying his wealth by purchasing a gem of true sight from the main shop. He began to gather up his teammates and pushed at the other team. Gem of True Sight grants the ability to see invisible units. This way, Bounty Hunter's invisibility was rendered useless. He was confronted by the threatening group of 5 opponents in addition to the Shadow Fiend with superb burst damage. Love Letter typed the word GG unwillingly before he logged out from the game soon after. God. You're awesome. Cold's face was flushed from the excitement. I'm ranked higher than Love Letter for my immortal tier now. Yilingchen smiled humbly. He would never show off his talents and capabilities. Chapter 17. The Feast. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. Chapter 17. The Feast Translator. Endless Fantasy Translation Editor. Endless Fantasy Translation. With the help of Lang Lang and Love Letter's popularity, Yilingchen's live channel already had 10,000 views. In addition to his amazing gaming skills and commentary, he had also accumulated 2,500 renminbi worth of reward from his patrons. F***ck. I made 2,500 renminbi through 2 live streaming sessions and 10,000 through 2 hours of massage sessions. Since when is making money such an easy task? He thanked his patron's rewards as he clicked the withdraw button in preparation to withdraw the money from his reward. Ha! Yi Lingchen frowned ever so slightly. He found that there was no way he could withdraw the money. He sent out a WeChat message. Leng Leng, why can't I withdraw the money in my reward? You haven't signed the contract, right? You can only withdraw the money after signing the contract. Yi Lingchen felt slightly speechless. Sign the contract. How do I do that? It's a simple procedure. I'm acquainted with someone from I Who Use Management. I can help you to apply for a high-tier privilege contract. Leng Leng was very enthusiastic. An ordinary contract will grant you a split of 40% and 60% between streamer and the platform. The streamer takes 40% and the platform takes 60%. On the other hand, the contract that I can help you to apply will grant you a 60%-40% split. Moreover, you will be bound by fewer terms if you take the high-tier contract. Yi Lingchen was tempted because the 20% was still extra money for him. So how do I apply for that? That's none of your business. I'll help you to contact them naturally. However, the one condition that I owe it to you is considered fulfilled in return. Leng Leng finally expressed her purpose. Sure, no problem. Yi Lingchen smiled. He felt that the situation was beneficial for him regardless. At the same time, Leng Leng cracked into a fox. Like cunning smile on her live channel. Yi Lingchen's gaming skills and performance would draw in I Who Use Management level sooner or later. It was not that difficult for him to be offered a high-tier privilege contract. She had nothing much to do but only to pass on a message. She felt like she had the potential to become a dishonest salesman because of her success in exchanging for a condition with such a simple matter. Have you all seen that cold goddess is actually smiling to herself? F***ck. This is obviously a smile of someone falling in love. I think that it's still a one-sided love for cold goddess just by looking with my eyes. This is scary, scary. It was getting late, so Yi Lingchen left the gaming cafe. He found a shaved noodle house nearby to have his dinner, then he jogged his way back to his house soon afterward. For a period of time that followed, Yi Lingchen enjoyed the leisurely time of the summer holidays. He would practice one round of Arhat Fist early every morning upon waking up, then he would head to the library nearby and read some books that interested him to increase his proficiency level. He spent his afternoons engaging in live streaming with Leng Leng and also carried out massage sessions with Xiao Feifei occasionally. Arhat Fist was a martial art that focused on external build. Yi Lingchen's originally flabby muscles began to firm and bulk up. He could clearly sense that he was getting stronger. He could only practice one round of Arhat Fist in the past, yet he was capable of practicing 2 rounds now. With the passing of time, it was getting closer and closer to the announcement of the college entrance examination results. The parents were growing anxious while the students that had given up on studying originally had also become worried. Dad, Mom, there's no need to worry about this. I'm going to score well in this examination. Yi Lingchen attempted to calm his anxious parents. What is the standard of your so-called score well? Is it going to be a 2nd or 3rd tier university? Yi Jin glared at Yi Lingchen, then he heaved a sigh heavily soon afterward. Su Zhen rubbed Yi Lingchen's head. Lingchen, Hu Zi from our village has already found out about his examination result in advance. He has already laid out a feast in preparation to treat everyone in the village to a grand meal. I thought the college entrance examination result is coming out tomorrow, said Yi Lingchen in astonishment. He remembered that Hu Zi was in the same examination hall as he was. His family member sought help from someone in the Ministry of Education to check for him. He scored 616 points and he is going to attend a 1st-tier university without a doubt, said Su Zhen. Yi Lingchen nodded upon realization. No wonder his parents were in a bad mood after seeing someone else's child getting good results. He did not elaborate further, but he was waiting for his results to be announced tomorrow so he could give his parents a surprise. Let's pack up, we are about to go over, said Su Zhen. Both of you should go, I'm not going. Upon saying that, Yi Jin put on his long coat and headed out at once. His departing silhouette was tainted with a tinge of bitterness and loneliness. It was not a huge village. Su Zhen and Yi Lingchen arrived at Hu Zi's house after taking a walk for 10 minutes. Currently, a huge red canopy was already propped up right in front of Hu Zi's house. There were a dozen tables placed under the canopy. The family members bustled about with great delight. Some of them were preparing the food while some were busy setting up the utensils. A few villagers would go over to congratulate them every once in a while. Hu Zi's mother, Xiao Mei, was grinning widely as she welcomed the guests. Hu Zi stood with his head held high akin to a triumphant general by his mother's side. His face was filled with joy and pride. Su Zhen pulled along Yi Lingchen to walk over to them. Congratulations, Xiao Mei. Hu Zi scored so well in the examination. You finally made it in life, congratulated Su Zhen. Ha, the examination is not too difficult this time. We still don't know which university is going to accept him still, said Xiao Mei humbly. Someone from the side immediately chimed in and said, Xiao Mei, you're too humble. Anyone knows that the examination papers from this year are much harder than the previous years. Hu Zi is certainly going to get accepted into a key university with his score. How did your son Hu Zi check his score? Can you please help to check on my child's too? Mine too. My son Ergo was predicted to score 600 points based on the previous examination. I wonder if it's true. Many parents wish to find out about their children's examination results eagerly. Su Zhen pulled along Yi Lingchen as they retreated in silence. They found a table and took a seat. Meanwhile, an exquisite silhouette was seen walking over from the distance. It was Zhang Yunxi. She was dressed in a casual sports top today and a pair of light blue jeans. She was not dressed up meticulously, yet she exuded shocking natural and plain beauty. Yunxi, over here. The two tables in the corner were already fully seated. It was apparent that those were all students. Zhang Yunxi paused for a moment. Her gaze swept past the scene and found Yi Lingchen. Her beautiful eyes brightened for a moment upon noticing Yi Lingchen. She waved her hand at the two tables before she took quick strides to sit by Yi Lingchen's side. Yi Lingchen, where have you been? I tried to meet you on a few occasions but you were not around, said Zhang Yunxi through her pouted lips as if she was grumbling. I have some matters to attend to. Yi Lingchen smiled awkwardly. There were the library, gaming cafe, and also Xiao Feifei's villa. He was fully occupied every day and as a result, he was not at home on most days. I haven't thanked you properly for the incident the other day. I was about to treat you to a meal, you see, said Zhang Yunxi. There's no need to treat me. Moreover, you've already treated me to a meal before, said Yi Lingchen smilingly. That's different. That's also because you helped previously. In that case, you've helped me twice. Zhang Yunxi stuck out her tongue in embarrassment. Are those your schoolmates over there? Said Yi Lingchen out of curiosity. He could sense the countless gaze filled with hostility in their eyes at the very moment Zhang Yunxi sat down by his side. That's right. Hu Zi is my classmate. He has invited all the students in our class this time, explained Zhang Yunxi. Zhang Yunxi sized Yi Lingchen up and down secretly and discovered that even though Yi Lingchen had not changed much in his appearance but his eyes seemed to turn brighter and determined than before. His entire body exuded a vague sense of potency that made her feel secure. Her heart was beating loudly in her chest. At the same time, a dozen pairs of eyes were staring at Zhang Yunxi. Their gaze dimmed gloomily after seeing Zhang Yunxi enjoying herself chatting with Yi Lingchen. F***ck, who is that boy? Who is he to sit with the most beautiful girl in our class? Could it be that they are childhood friends? He doesn't look that attractive either. Hu Zi, come here. Who is that? Hu Zi looked at Yi Lingchen. The corners of his lips curved into a contemptuous arc. He is the most classic slacker student in our village. I heard that he comes last in every examination. Which school is he from? Said a tall and huge handsome boy with a frown. Rugeo No. 3 High School. That school is full of slacker students that are way below our No. 1 high school, said Hu Zi smilingly. I heard that the total number of students made it to first-tier universities from the entire No. 3 high school is less than one of our classes. Ha. Ha. These slacker students are destined not to be in the same world as we do. He will never be able to covet for Yunqi even more, said the tall and huge handsome boy. Then, he began walking toward Zhang Yunqi's direction. The rest of the students gazed into the eyes of one another as well before they followed after him in a haste. Chu Hao was an influential figure in Rugeo No. 1 High School. Together with Zhang Yunqi, he was known as the Golden Boy and Jade Girl of the school. Either one of them would come first in the entire school during examinations. Moreover, Chu Hao came from a rather wealthy family. His family owned a small factory. His intention to pursue Zhang Yunqi's affection was not a secret at all. Chapter 18. Checkpoints. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 18. Checkpoints. Translator. Endless Fantasy Translation Editor. Endless Fantasy Translation. Yunqi. Chu Hao took the liberty to walk over and sat by Zhang Yunqi's side. The rest of the students sitting at the two tables joined them as well. Chu Hao, why are you sitting here? Asked Zhang Yunqi. We're all classmates. Since you have a friend sitting over here, we should get acquainted with one another. Chu Hao chuckled, then looked toward Yi Lingchen and asked, this is? His name is Yi Lingchen and he's a friend of mine, introduced Zhang Yunqi. Your friend doesn't look familiar, he's not from our No. 1 high school, right? Asked Chu Hao. I'm from the No. 3 high school, said Yi Lingchen frankly. So it turns out that you're a top scorer from No. 3 high school. Forgive me for not recognizing you. Chu Hao strongly emphasized the word top scorer, then he continued speaking. I heard that the No. 3 high school is quite chaotic with all sorts of students. I've never been there despite being in Rugeo City for so many years. I feel bad. It is a chaotic place. I heard that half of the students at No. 3 high school are hooligans, someone chimed in. Yi Lingchen pursed his lips, but he did not join in the conversation either. It seemed like these newcomers were not on friendly terms. Frankly, No. 3 high school took in slacker students with bad academic performance. It could be said that the students in this school were abandoned academically. The majority of the students were just there to slack their way until they graduated from high school. Yunqi and I are going to apply for the University of Nanking. I wonder which university are you going to apply to? Asked Chu Hao. I'll see which university is suitable for me when the time comes, said Yi Lingchen calmly. He, it seems like you're very confident in your examination results. Chu Hao was amused by Yi Lingchen's self-conceited confidence because he thought he could simply choose to apply to any university he liked. Chu Hao could not refrain himself from saying mockingly, you must be doing pretty well in your studies on usual days since you're so confident. Pretty well, my *SS. He is considered a rather well-known student in No. 3 high school too. He came last in almost every examination. Hu Zi came forward and said, moreover, I took the examination with him in the same hall. He hadn't spent more than an hour to complete the examination of any subject. How will he score well in the examination? Whoa! Everyone looked toward Yi Lingchen with despise and realized that he did not even bother to deny that. Regardless of whether he knew how to answer the questions, he should wait until the examination had ended before he left at the very least. It was obvious that Yi Lingchen was irresponsible and gave up on himself already. Since this was the case, Yi Lingchen still had the boldness to remain calm. He had no shame at all, while Su Zhen looked awkward and ashamed. Ha, impressive, impressive. I'm incapable of doing that even when my wish is to score well enough to enter a Tier 1 university. Brother Yi is considered a talented man too. Chu Hao laughed aloud. He said in a generous manner, scoring well in an examination is nothing much really. Brother Yi can still look for a job even if you don't get accepted into a university. My uncle owns a garage. I can introduce you to him. You can be an apprentice there and make 5,000 renminbi a month after probation. Every single person there was shocked. They changed the way they looked at Chu Hao all of a sudden. They could not help feeling like they wanted to curry favor and make friends with him. Very few people in this village could make 5,000 renminbi a month in this entire village. Moreover, they would still need to work elsewhere all year long in order to earn that much. Chu Hao's offer was as attractive as a free lunch fallen from heaven. What was the reason behind parents' motivation to send their children to university? Was it not to provide their children with better career opportunities? Yi Lingqian's expression remained unchanged despite being given such a lucrative offer. He said indifferently, "It's okay. Brother Yi, I understand that you're a proud man. This is my uncle's business card. You can give him a call when you come to your senses." Chu Hao passed him a business card. My uncle's garage is huge. Could it be that his offer is not attractive enough for you? Many university undergraduates seek employment from him after graduation too. Yi Lingqian did not extend his hand to receive the card. However, a pair of hands stretched out from someone behind him and took the business rapidly. It was a woman leading a burly-looking boy. She was all smiles after receiving the business card. "Boss, this is my son Daniel. He is from number 3 high school and he is a hardworking person. Please see if you can make some arrangements for him." Chu Hao darted Yi Lingqian a look proudly. "Since someone has rejected the offer, we can take your son naturally. All of you are fellow villagers of Yunxi, so we're all friends. I'll try my best to help if I can for sure." "Thank you, boss." "Thank you, boss." The woman smiled as bright as a flower. Then, she said to Su Zhen, "Sister Zhen, thank you for your son's willingness to decline such a precious offer so that I can have it." Su Zhen smiled bitterly. Next, the feast was served. However, it was apparent that Chu Hao became the focal topic of the conversation. Every single person was discussing about him in private. They wanted their children to befriend him. "Daniel, go over and toast to the boss." The woman told her son, "Do a good job in his place from now on, okay? We're all friends." "You're welcome," said Chu Hao while laughing. Zhang Yunxi's mother tugged at her sleeve and said softly, "Yunxi, keep your distance from Yi Lingqian from now on. What can a hooligan from number 3 high school do in life? I think that Chu Hao is quite impressive. He is a fine-looking young man that is very dependable. He's so successful at such a young age. Mother, Lingqian is not a hooligan. He has helped me many times," Zhang Yunxi could not help saying. "What does a young girl like you know? He is so shameless. He can't be a good person, even if he is not a hooligan. It's best to keep your distance, all right." Yi Lingqian noticed that Su Zhen did not seem to have an appetite. He picked up some food with his chopsticks for her. "Mother, have some. You should eat, Mom is not hungry." It was apparent that Su Zhen had no appetite. She almost did not pick up her chopsticks at all. She had a look as if she was planning to leave as soon as possible. "Mom, I'm going to score very well in this college entrance examination. Don't worry about it," Yi Lingqian assured his mother. However, it was apparent that Su Zhen did not seem to believe him. She was more aware of Yi Lingqian's academic performance more than anybody else. "Mom, look." Noticing that his assurance was ineffective, Yi Lingqian took out his phone and turned on his WeChat app. He pointed to the balance of 30,000 renminbi on his screen. "This is the money that I earned recently." The money was earned from his massage session for Xiao Feifei. Even though he would be having a nosebleed from her sexiness, Yi Lingchen was duty-bound as a professional trying to treat his patient. "How did you get so much money?" said Su Jin nervously with a slight change of expression. "I earn it. It is definitely earned honestly. There's no need for you to worry really. Your son is a big boy already. I can support myself from now on," said Yi Lingchen to Su Jin with a smile. That's my good son." Su Jin looked at Yi Lingchen with gentle motherly love. "Don't just keep taking food for mom, you should eat too." Buzz buzz buzz. Meanwhile, Chu Hao's phone vibrated loudly. "Hello, Dad. Son, I've already assigned someone to check for your college entrance examination results. I'm going to tell you now, note it down." "Sure, Dad." Chinese 120 points, Mathematics 140 points, English 125 points, Science Comprehensive Ability 275 points. Your total score is 660 points. Alright. I'm having dinner with my friends now. I'm going to hang up now, alright. Whoa, Chu Hao. You're great. You got 660 points. You won't be having any problems getting accepted into the University of Nanking for sure. Everyone cast an envious look at him. What a waste that I didn't do well in English. I made a mistake in even the most basic grammar multiple choice questions. Otherwise, I'll be more secure, said Chu Hao with a sigh. Ha, stop being pretentious. The cut-off point for the University of Nanking is only about 650 usually. This year's examination is tougher, so you're in a good place with your score. Chu Hao, can you please ask your father to check for me as well? Asked someone anxiously. Small matter. Let me make a call and give me your candidate number, said Chu Hao casually. Your father is truly capable. My candidate number is 1 *****. Me too. Please help to check for me. Other than his classmates, some people from the village had also gathered around him as well. Wang Hao, your total score is 620 points. Not bad, you did pretty well. Han Yu, your total score is 600 points. You may be able to get into a Tier 1 university. Those that requested for Chu Hao's help to check for them were the more confident students. It turned into a cheerful scene at once. Yunxi, shall I help you to check as well? Chu Hao looked toward Zhang Yunxi. There's no need for that, I think. Zhang Yunxi was slightly hesitant. Anyhow, we will find out tomorrow. Why not? The earlier you know, the more you'll be at ease. Zhang Yunxi's mother hastily said, my daughter's candidate number is 1 *****. Chinese 130 points, Mathematics 125 points, English 130 points, Science Comprehensive Ability 269 points. The total score is 659 points. Yunxi, you'll certainly be able to get into the University of Nanking with your score. We're going to be classmates again, said Chu Hao. She's a girl after all. She didn't do that well in her mathematics and science comprehensive ability. Zhang Yunxi's mother could not help saying. The mathematics examination is made up by a professor from a well-known university. As a result, it is very tough. It's already very impressive to score 125 points. Chu Hao continued to speak. My father said that there are less than 200 people that score 130 points and above in mathematics for the entire district. Wow, Chu Hao. You scored 140 points for mathematics. You're simply unbelievable. That's right. I bet you have the highest score in the entire district. How did you do it? Chu Hao smiled. In truth, mathematics is the mutual change of different models. You will only need to practice more on usual days and familiarize yourself with different types of models and formulas to have the ability to utilize the knowledge properly. It's not that hard to score 140 points this way. He was displeased when he realized that Yi Lingchen was unconcerned. He continued to speak, as compared to my score, I find that Brother Ye's score is even more impressive. I heard that he has actually scored 0 points for his English examination. It is a true master's feat not being able to score even one correct answer in hundreds of multiple-choice questions. Brother Yi, why don't I teach you a method? Next time, place your answer sheet on the ground and stamp it with your foot twice. Fill in the answer according to the shape of your footprint. Perhaps, you'll be able to score much higher points. The insult did not trigger any changes to Yi Lingqian's expression at all. Yi Lingqian answered in a carefree manner, is it very impressive to score 140 points? You can do it just by leaving the answer to the final question blank, right? His calm voice sounded especially irritating in the ears of the people at this very moment. Everyone was stunned from astonishment, then they shifted their gaze upon Yi Lingqian, who was still enjoying the feast. Was it you who said those words earlier? Asked Chu Hao as if he could not believe his ears. That's me. Heh. I was just thinking to myself, who could say such senseless words? I'm not surprised that it came from you. Chu Hao scoffed in disdain. Only an ignorant person will think that it's a simple matter. Chu Hao, why do you bother to argue with the likes of him? I think that he has never scored 50 points in his mathematics examination before, mocked Hu Zi. Zhang Yunxi's mother tugged at Zhang Yunxi from the side. Yunxi, you've seen that too. Yi Lingqian is just a boy who enjoys speaking faster than he can think. Chu Hao is trying to help him to get a job, yet he is constantly picking a quarrel with Chu Hao. He has a bad temperament. Good thing is that you are about to leave for university soon. Don't keep in touch with a person like him anymore from now on, okay? On the other side, a woman seated next to Su Zhen as well. She shook her head and said, Sister Zhen, your boy is too egotistical. It's fine that he is not doing well academically. A person will need to have good emotional quotient when he enters society. A nobleman is right before him, yet he has the audacity to offend the nobleman. I'm concerned about his future. The villagers shook their heads in disapproval. It was a pity that Yi Jin was a doctor that saved people's lives, and he was considered a rather powerful figure in the entire village. What a waste that his son did not take after him. How did he raise a son like this? Perhaps his son would end up causing more embarrassment to the family in the future. Chu Hao, perhaps Yi Lingqian is doing very well in the examination since he has the boldness to speak such bold words. Why don't you help me to check his score too? Suggested Hu Zi. Good idea. Chu Hao nodded. Yi Lingqian, tell me your candidate number. There's no need to trouble you. I shall find out tomorrow naturally. Yi Lingqian shook his head and found that he was getting bored. Mom, let's go home. His reaction made him appear as if he was fleeing cravenly in the eyes of the villagers. Why is he in such a hurry to leave? We're just going to check his results for a moment. Hu Zi chuckled. I took a photo of Yi Lingqian's candidate number conveniently in the examination hall. Since he won't tell us, we shall help him to check then. Chapter 19. Who is Student Yi? You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 19. Who is Student Yi? Translator. Endless Fantasy Translation Editor. Endless Fantasy Translation. Su Zhen's body stiffened obviously for a moment when she heard that they were about to check on Yi Lingqian's results. Her hands were tightly clenched and she appeared incomparably nervous. Yi Lingqian stopped his action straightforwardly as well. He looked on to the event quietly from the side. Yi Lingqian's candidate number is 1 *****. Hu Zi read out Yi Lingqian's candidate number slowly. Chu Hao dialed a number. Hello, Dad. There's another friend of mine. Can you please help to check his results? Sure, no problem. However, Chu Hao waited for a very long while this time. There was no response from the other end of the phone call. He seemed to be hearing some indistinct noise and cheering voices. Dad, have you got it? Chu Hao could not help asking. Everyone in the surroundings were waiting eagerly. Su Zhen's palms were already sweaty. Even though she was well aware of her son's academic performance, but she would always hope for a miracle to happen to her son as a parent. Wait. The people in the Ministry of Education is checking over here. They seem to be discussing something, said Chu Hao's father. 1 minute later, his father's voice was heard once again. He sounded excited when he said, "Son, where are all of you? Don't leave. The director of the Bureau of Education Bureau is about to come over to offer congratulations personally, and also the headmaster from your school too." What? Chu Hao's breathing quickened. He looked at the people around that were getting incomparably excited similarly around him. He said eagerly, "We are in Taolin Village at Rugao City. Wait, let me send you my location." "Sure, don't leave. Remember to behave yourself later. We will be there soon." Chu Hao's father hung up as soon as he was done speaking. "Chu Hao, I heard that the headmaster and the people from the Education Bureau are coming over." "Is that true?" asked someone incredulously. Chu Hao was very excited similarly. His face flushed scarlet. "It is definitely happening. They are already on their way." Wow! They were really coming over. Everyone was stunned from astonishment. They began to bustle about in a flurry, one after another. They were all villagers of this village. Even though the cars were already widely used today, but not many of the villagers had ever left the village. The director of the Education Bureau and the headmaster were definitely considered high-ranking officials for these villagers. They were the people that only existed in the television shows. "No, I have to go home to change into something nice." "Me too. I have a few free-range sage hens. Shall I capture them and bring them over?" Soon, the news traveled to the ears of the village chief. The village chief was almost 60 years old, but he was still healthy and energetic. He rushed over in long strides and began to make arrangements in order. "Don't panic, everyone. It's a good thing that the director is coming to our village. We shall strive to set up a banner to welcome his arrival as soon as possible. We must leave a good impression for the director." Their working efficiency had obviously improved and progressed with someone making arrangements. "They haven't even told you your result yet." Su Zhen could not help taking offense. As compared to the people from the Education Bureau, Yi Lingchen's results appeared to be so trifle. No one bothered to mention about that anymore. "Chu Hao, do you know why the Education Bureau director is coming over?" asked someone out of curiosity. Chu Hao shook his head. However, he said soon afterward, "My guess is that it's certainly related to the college entrance examination results. After all, they proposed to come over here when we were inquiring about the results." Chu Hao smiled upon seeing the crowd nodding in approval. "I helped so many of you to check on your results earlier. Those with the poorest results are eligible to apply to first-tier university. Most importantly, some of us have scored very highly in the examination. There are 5 of us that scored above 640 points. It's not a wonder that the Education Bureau is paying attention to us. I'm almost sure that they are going to congratulate us. Young Master Chu's analysis is on point." Hu Zi continued to speak, "However, our score is nothing to them. I think that the most crucial part is young Master Chu's results that is capable of bringing in such huge reputation." "That's right. 660 points. I'm certain that you are ranking the first 15 of the entire school. In addition, there's Zhang Yunxi with her 659 points. No wonder the people from the Education Bureau is taking this seriously." 20 minutes later. "Yunxi, the director's car has already entered the village. You should come forward, quick." "Mom, that's all right. I'll sit over here with Zichen." Zhang Yunxi shook her head. "What's wrong with you, my child? You scored so well in the examination. The director is here to congratulate you, so you should come forward. Come with me, quick." Zhang Yunxi gave Ling Zichen an apologetic look before she was pulled away by her mother. Soon afterward, the humming sound of car engines were heard. 2 Buick MPVs drove into the village slowly. 3 people got off from each car. 2 of them were old men with gray hair and 4 middle-aged men dressed in full suits. One of the men had a square face with a black framed glasses. "Dad!" Chu Hao called out to one of the middle-aged men. The middle-aged man had a slightly reserved look in his eyes as he looked toward the rest of the people. "Chu Hao, come here. This is the headmaster of your number 1 high school." The middle-aged man smiled and waved to Chu Hao before he said to the old man by his side respectfully, "Headmaster Chen, this is my son Chu Hao. He scored 660 points in the examination." That's quite impressive. Mr. Chu brings up his children properly." Headmaster Chen smiled kindly at Chu Hao. "Keep up the good work and strive to become the backbone of the country in the future." "Don't worry, Headmaster Chen. I'll work hard and do my best," said Chu Hao aloud as if he was injected with chicken blood. "Who is Zhang Yunxi?" asked Headmaster Chen. "That's my daughter," said Zhang Yunxi's mother at once. Then, she pulled Zhang Yunxi to come forward. It's truly not an easy feat to achieve such a high score. Good job." Headmaster Chen smiled, then he looked toward the numerous students on the scene. "Good job to all of you too." Meanwhile, the middle-aged man with glasses walked forward slowly. He sized his surroundings before he asked, "May I know who is Student Yi?" "Student Yi." The people stood gazing at one another with a confused look on their faces. Chu Hao spoke aloud, "Is there anyone from our class with the surname Yi? Please come forward. It's unrelated to your class. He is a student of our number 3 high school. Is Student Yi Lingchen here?" It was apparent that the other old man was eager. "Yi Lingchen." The people could not help turning their bodies to the side and looked toward the mother and son sitting in a corner in unison. The old man walked over with quick strides. "You're Yi Lingchen." "That's me. I'm the headmaster of number 3 high school, Ran." The old man stretched out a hand to shake Yi Lingchen's hand eagerly. "Headmaster Shi, nice to meet you." Yi Lingchen stood up in a calm and composed manner. If this was the past, he would certainly become excited beyond comparison with the rest of the students. However, he was gifted with the genius system now. Moreover, he was capable of playing games with famous game streamers, providing skin massage to popular celebrity and had a collective thousands of fans. His self-orientation had already changed. The headmaster of a Rugeo high school could no longer stress him out. Good. Headmaster Shi said the word good 3 times in a row. His gaze was filled with even more admiration as he looked at Yi Lingchen. "You're capable of being calm as still water at such a young age. No wonder you're the top scorer of the entire province. I would like to express my gratitude for your effort in honoring the entire school on behalf of number 3 high school." Upon saying that, Headmaster Shi bowed deeply at Yi Lingchen. With the blessings from heaven, there was no doubt that number 3 high school was like a concentration camp for slacker students. Let alone the provincial top scorer, Headmaster Shi would even play fireworks to celebrate for a city's top scorer from his school. Yi Lingchen came as a huge surprise for him. Headmaster Shi was almost lost his consciousness from excitement when he found out about this matter. "Headmaster Shi, I'm not worthy of such compliments." Yi Lingchen immediately bowed back in response in a neither humble nor haughty manner. He was a provincial top scorer. The turn of events happened too quickly such that everyone felt like they were rendered incapable of wrapping their heads around the events. Their mouths were gaping while their minds were a blank slate. Su Zhen was feeling slightly anxious originally. However, her entire person was filled with shock, excitement, anxiety, and incredulousness when she heard the words, provincial top scorer. Is my son really the provincial top scorer? Absolutely correct. Your son is the provincial top scorer. You're an amazing mother for being able to cultivate such an outstanding child. Headmaster Sher nodded, then said, I would like to represent the school to express my gratitude for your capability to cultivate such an outstanding child. Suzhen covered her mouth and basked in countless envious gaze of the people. Then, she looked at her son once again and felt like she was in a dream. After the momentary shock, Chu Hao shook his head and roared deeply, that's impossible. How could he possibly be the provincial top scorer? Are you doubting my words? Headmaster Sher frowned and displayed the overbearingness of a headmaster. He looked at Chu Hao in an unpleasant manner. He comes last in every examination of the entire school. How can he possibly do so well in the college entrance examinations? This is utterly illogical, said Chu Hao. In truth, student Yi has always been concealing his capabilities before the third mock examination. After the third mock examination, he disclosed himself and displayed his shocking capabilities. Headmaster Sher spoke slowly, think about this. Which one of you is capable of avoiding all the correct answer perfectly when given hundreds of multiple choice questions? The people could not help shaking their heads. Student Yi can do that. Headmaster Sher spoke in a resonant tone, how does he do that? By relying on his capabilities. Student Yi is obviously a rare talent, yet he is capable of concealing himself. He puts up with things that others can't. It's the honor of my number 3 high school to be able to produce a student like you. Headmaster Sher was beyond excited. He wished that he could praise Yi Lingchen all the way to heaven. I'm the deputy director of the Bureau of Education Bureau, Xie Chao. The middle-aged man with glasses came forward slowly as well. He smiled at Yi Lingchen kindly. Student Yi Lingchen. You scored 145 points for Chinese, 145 points for mathematics, 145 points for English, 295 points for science comprehensive ability. Your total score is 725 points. He stretched out his hand to shake Yi Lingchen's hand hastily. Student Yi, congratulations. The score was so shocking it made everyone in the scene drew in a cold breath. Chu Hao was ghastly pale. His original arrogance was completely shattered and crushed mercilessly. Zhang Yunxi was flushed scarlet from the excitement on the other hand. She clapped for Yi Lingchen. Since the Education Bureau had come forward to announce this, then Yi Lingchen's score was certainly real. Student Yi, only 5 points each are deducted from every subject. You seem to be controlling it well. Headmaster Sher looked at Yi Lingchen smilingly. That's very simple. I just need to skip answering the final question for each subject. Yi Lingchen's reply made everyone frown. They remembered his words earlier that they treated as a joke originally. However, they could not laugh anymore regardless as of now. It was all right not to understand a prodigy's words, but one should never doubt him. It was because they did not belong to the same level at all. It has already been 5 years since our Rugao city has produced a provincial top scorer. Student Yi Lingchen, thank you for honoring our city, said Deputy Director Xia to Yi Lingchen smilingly. Even though the statistical work for tabulating the results has yet to be completed now, but Yi Lingchen's score is absolutely the first in the province even when compared to the previous year. When it has been confirmed, I will apply for my superior to reward him with a scholarship worth 50,000 renminbi. As compared to the other false titles, it was apparent that a scholarship was a more realistic idea. Envy was almost overflowing from the villagers' faces. Someone else's son is truly awesome. Chapter 20. Capital City, Here I Come. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 20. Capital City, Here I Come. Translator. Endless Fantasy Translation Editor. Endless Fantasy Translation. The leaders from the Education Bureau then engaged in some irrelevant conversations with the people before they got into the car and left. The entire scene was deathly silent. The numerous villagers looked toward Yi Lingchen and his mother. Their expression was a combination of awkwardness and envy. No one spoke out at this very instant surprisingly. By now, a fool would know that the people from the Education Bureau were here solely because of the provincial top scorer Yi Lingchen. It was funny that Chu Ran still had the courage to make that self-conceited conjecture. His result could not compare to Yi Lingchen at all. "Mom, let's go," said Yi Lingchen once again. I want to let your father knows about this news as soon as possible." Su Zhen nodded hastily. Her voice sounded incomparably excited. She turned her head to the side and wiped away the tears in the corners of her eyes secretly. Both of them left slowly. Yi Lingchen paused for a moment when he walked to Chu Hao's side. He said calmly, "Your uncle's garage can't afford to employ me genuinely." Chu Hao's expression displayed his unstable emotions. His cheeks were burning hot from embarrassment. What virtues or abilities had his uncle's garage to employ a provincial top scorer? Su Zhen fished out her phone to make a call eagerly as soon as they left the place. "Hello." Yi Jin's voice was heard echoing from the phone. "We got Lingchen's results already." Su Zhen's voice was trembling even. The voice on the other end of the call was quiet for a long time. Yi Jin said with forced calmness, "I thought we will only know tomorrow." A student sought help from someone to find out during dinner. Yi Jin could hear from Su Zhen's voice that she was choking back the tears. He felt like his heart had sunk into the bottom of the valley despite the fact that he did not have high hopes originally. He spoke in a hoarse voice, "Poor academic performance is within our expectation originally." Upon saying that, he paused for a moment. He was incapable of suppressing his curiosity anymore, so he continued to ask with the last hope, "So, what is his score?" His tone of speech sounded solemn as if he was awaiting some form of verdict. "Lingchen scored 725 points. 725 points, the score." Yi Jin did not manage to react to the situation accordingly at once. However, his pupils enlarged abruptly in the next moment while his entire body trembled. He spoke in a voice that was almost shaky, "I may have listened wrong earlier. How many points again?" 725 points. Lingchen is the provincial top scorer. Tears streamed down Su Zhen's face as she lost all control to suppress it. She cried tears of joy and held high hopes for her child. "Has the score been checked and confirmed?" Yi Jin could not help asking. "The people from the Education Bureau paid us a visit already and they said that they are awarding Lingchen with a 50,000 renminbi scholarship." Su Zhen explained about the events that took place today to her husband. Good, good, good." Yi Jin was already speechless from excitement. He muttered irrelevantly for a while before he said, "I'm coming home now." In the house, Yi Jin and Yi Lingchen sat on opposite sides gazing into each other's eyes. None of them had spoken to one another. It was Yi Lingchen's first time looking at his father so close up over the years. His father's eye sockets were slightly sunken. There were already 3 to 5 crow's feet around the corners of his eyes. His incomparably bright eyes in Yi Lingchen's memories were already covered with the traces of passing time and life. "Son." Yi Jing was looking at Yi Lingchen just the same. He had thousands and thousands of words to say, but in the end he said, "You're all grown up. You're all grown up, while I am old." Yi Lingchen's vision was growing blurry from the tears welling up in his eyes. He hastily rubbed his eyes with his hands. "Dad, you and Mom needn't worry about me anymore from now on." Yi Jin's eyes were moistened by tears too. Ha, very well. Then we shall drink to the night as father and son today." As a doctor, Yi Jin was not a drinking man on usual days. However, he made an exception today and had Su Zhen procured 2 bottles of liquor in his collection. Lingchen is still a child. How can a father encourage his son to drink? Su Zhen complained. The father and son gazed into the eyes of one another and broke out laughing. The best was left unsaid. That night, the father Yi Jin and son Yi Lingchen chatted about many things and drank plenty of liquor. Yi Jin spoke of one sentence the most, which was, "Lingchen, good job. You're certainly my son, ha. The feast had only ended when Yi Jin fell asleep from being drunk. On the other hand, Yi Lingchen's alcohol tolerance proficiency had soared to 70% instantaneously. Yi Lingchen thought to himself about how it would be very difficult for him to get intoxicated in the future. Yi Lingchen remained to be just as sober as before. He helped Yi Jin into the room before he returned to his room to sleep. The next day, Yi Jin had only opened his eyes drowsily when it was late in the morning. At the very moment he woke up, he had completely sobered up. He sat upright in front of the telephone machine and picked up a pen and paper as he waited in combat readiness. Even though he found out about Yi Lingchen's score from Su Zhen, but he was still feeling concerned as the result had yet to be officially announced. He had memorized the telephone number for checking score and Yi Lingchen's candidate number clearly in his mind. He pressed the buttons according to the instructions given with shaky hands. "Hello, your score is." With every subject that was announced, Yi Jin took note of the score in an incomparably cautious and meticulous manner. When the result for the last subject was announced, the tears that Yi Jin tried so hard to swallow yesterday streamed down his face. Then, he picked up his phone eagerly. "Hello. This is the second uncle, right? It's me, Yi Jin. My son's result is out. He scored 725 points, not so bad, just lucky enough to be the provincial top scorer." "Hello. This is the sister.in.law, right? It's me, Yi Jin. The result for the college entrance examination has been announced. My son scored 725 points. Ha. His result is genuinely not bad." For the rest of the day, Yi Jin was absorbed in the task of calling every single number of the relative members he could think of. He laughed joyously like a child. On the other hand, Yi Lingchen had already arrived at Longhu Estate currently. "You're going to capital city," Yi Lingchen said in astonishment as he massaged Xiao Feifei's silk-like skin and body. Xiao Feifei nodded. Her eyes were squinted shut akin to a kitten, a sign that she was enjoying Yi Lingchen's massage treatment. Next, she turned her head and looked at Yi Lingchen in anticipation. "I've recently signed on to a martial art television series project. I'm going to return to capital city for filming. You said before that I will need to receive the massage treatment for half a year before I can recover. Why don't you join me to go to capital city?" Yi Lingchen was silent. Beijing was the capital city of China. It was a thriving and prosperous city with people living extravagant lives. The attraction of the city blinded countless people and made them yearn for its presence. Even if Xiao Feifei had not mentioned this, Yi Lingchen could definitely apply and get accepted into either Tsinghua University or Peking University with his outstanding results. "Do you have any plans for summer holidays?" asked Xiao Feifei. "Nothing at the moment." Yi Lingchen shook his head. "Since you don't have any plans, then why don't you follow me for a trip to Beijing? I can be your tour guide." Xiao Feifei looked at Yi Lingchen before she continued to speak seductively. "Moreover, I'm paying your wage too." "When are you going to depart?" asked Yi Lingchen. Xiao Feifei replied, "We're leaving in the afternoon tomorrow." Yi Lingchen nodded. He was not in a rush to commit himself. On one hand, he had never traveled so far before on his own. He hesitated whether he should stay back and accompanied his parents. On the other hand, he wanted to visit city where its people lived extravagantly before he made the decision if he wanted to attend a university there. He had a youth's temperament and now was just the right time that he was proud of his achievement. He wanted to experience a different place badly. "Don't worry, capital city is my territory. I'll make sure that you won't get bullied over there," said Xiao Feifei as she assumed the tone of an old senior woman suddenly. She could not refrain herself from sniggering aloud after saying that. Yi Lingchen pondered for a moment before he brought up the most important issue to him at last. How much is the wage? Xiao Feifei said, Sister Lin, Yi Lingchen had a long discussion with his parents after returning to his home. Then, he began packing his luggage in preparation to depart the next day. Mother, I plan to enroll in Peking University. After arriving in capital city, I'll enroll in the university directly when the new semester begins, said Yi Lingchen. Su Zhen answered softly. She kept her head down all the time while she helped Yi Lingchen to pack his luggage. Yi Jin kept his silence as well on the side. The weather in capital city is dry and arid. I heard that now is the driest season of all. You must take good care of yourself. Su Zhen briefed her son, I'm putting your summer clothes in this section, autumn clothes in the middle section, cashmere sweaters and coats on the other side. Wear them if the weather gets too cold. Mom, it's still too early for me to pack winter clothes now. Yi Lingchen felt speechless. It's hard to predict the weather. You have never traveled so far before. Moreover, you're going away for such a long time. It's better to be prepared than sorry, said Su Zhen. She could not help wiping away her tears. Your son is traveling to the city. This is promising, don't cry about it, said Yi Jin from the side. Su Zhen helped Yi Lingchen to zip up the luggage, then she brought over a package from another side. I've placed some food in here. It's our Rugao city's native produce. Have some if you're hungry during the journey. Text Mom if you've run out and want more. Mom will send it to you via the post. Also, here's some money for your expenditure. Your dad will be transferring money into your bank account every month from now on. Spend it on what is necessary. Su Zhen suddenly spoke more than usual. It felt as if her words were never ending. She reminded Yi Lingchen on this and advised him on that without stop. Mom, I can make my own money too. The expenditure in capital city is high. Don't worry, Mom and Dad have some savings. Don't overthink this. Yi Lingchen listened to his mother's words quietly from the side. As he looked at his parents, he made a decision in his mind. I must make it to the top and return to the village with high honors. Lingchen, you're sent to work in capital city because your effort is valued, be sure to put in more effort at work. Before Yi Lingchen's departure, Yi Jin finally gave his advice. Yi Lingchen nodded. Then, he turned his head once again to take a glance of his parents before he turned around and got into the car. Son, remember to take good care of yourself. Be sure to call home if you face any difficulties and need help. Su Zhen could not refrain herself from taking a few steps forward. Yi Lingchen replied softly without turning back. The car drove away slowly. Yi Lingchen could still see the silhouette of his two aging parents through the rearview mirror until they vanished from sight when the distance was too far. Perhaps it was because they realized that Yi Lingchen was not in a good mood. Sister Lin and Xiao Feifei did not speak to him during the journey. The car drove for over an hour before arriving at the airport. They boarded the airplane at 3 in the afternoon. Through the window, he watched as the land underneath his feet shrunk smaller and smaller and buildings turning into ants before vanishing from his sight at last. Goodbye, Rugao City. Capital City, here I come.